Alright. We live, baby. We live, baby. Nah, that's too dark. It's too dark. Alright, bro. Hold on before I start. Okay. Don't get that food in the microwave when you get out. Alright. Alright. Red eye, demon, we don't do Daytona. Okay, bet. Now, yesterday we did part one of this hoe because it was 4 hours long, so we're gonna jump straight into it, straight back in to the mini murders, a little dirt. This part two though. Like the video, leave your comments in the comments, whatever you gotta do. Subscribe if you ain't subscribed. We in this John. Follow if you ain't followed, if you watching on Twitch.
Gang known as Dog Pound. Dirk was seemingly all 21 before the arrest of those responsible for Duck's murder. Lil Dirk
that's what we were right here.
The death of someone very close to him, someone who was allegedly involved in that murder of FBG Duck, his brother D-Thang, a loss which Dirk took incredibly personally, and according to online rumors and recent paperwork, incited Dirk to put money in the street to get revenge, money that would apparently lead to not just one, but 3 people losing their lives. Dante Banks Jr., known to his family as Booney and to fans of his brother Lil Durk as D-Thang, was born on September the 15th, 1989. According to their mother's memoir, D-Thang was in many ways the polar opposite of his brother Dirk, who was known as a wild child. However, D-Thang also had a short temper, which would often get him involved in fights, and as he grew older, he
I ain't know much about D-Thang
time with older guys from the block who were hanging out near their home on the corner of 72nd and Green, this area being associated with a local gang known as Dog Pound. Dirk was seemingly always close with the Dog Pound crew, but likely due to his closest friends being from Lamron and Taytown, he would also spend more time in that area, despite living in the Dog Pound's hood.
Man, what block we on, Joe? Where we at? What's happening right now, man? What's good, man?
Billy D birthday, man. My cousin shit, like getting
Everybody out here?
yeah, man. And the big drill out here, man.
It's a big drill.
Big drill.
Where y'all from,
Old
man?
boys.
Where y'all from, fam?
This dog town right here, man. I'm kind of wrong, but I'm like, what you doing?
D-Thang wasn't the only one in Dirk's family tree who was claiming dog pound, as his late cousin and OTF artist Newski, who was seemingly very close with Dirk and D-Thang throughout his childhood, would also claim this set, while also being closely affiliated with another set called Face World 079. Even the music video for Dirk's first nationwide hit, This Ain't What You Want, was filmed in the dog pound's hood, as can be seen from the street sign of Green Street at the beginning of the video. Growing up, D-Thang would have two best friends, Chino and SB, who were both from the eastern side of the south side, with at least Chino allegedly being part of the THF-46 gang set located in the so-called low end. After graduating from high school, D-Thang would move to Iowa together with Chino and SB for work. But while being there, Dirk would begin to send them songs that he was making, such as the track Lamron Wasted, which would begin to garner attention in Chicago, as SB would later explain during a DJU interview. He would be the one to tell Dirk to move away from simply freestyling his lyrics and shouting out all his friends and affiliated sets to actually making more meaningful lyrics that people from all over could relate to.
After high school, me, D-Thang, and Chino had moved to Iowa. You know what I'm saying? We was out there hustling with the, you know, the work, whatever, you know, just hustling weed. Same time, you know, me, I'm always who not only stay in the streets, but I'm a corporate too, so I get a gig, you know what I'm saying, a little supervisor job at a plant, you know what I'm saying, so I'm hustling and working, you know what I'm saying, doing both. So we out there, you know, just chilling. We went to Iowa, you know, go out.
Type shit, any street nigga that really get money, got a job, fool. Oh God. He do what he do on the side, but then he got a job.
Hustling and then working, so I never forget Dirk would start sending us songs. You know what I'm saying? Him and his homie Isaac, they were sending us records. I'm like, damn, this is really dope. I'm like, damn, you really got this. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't even Dirk, he was Tay still, you know what I'm saying? So he finally shot a video with Reggie, Status TV. That's his cousin, you know what I'm saying, Reggie. And the video was wasted. It's probably still on YouTube. You know what I'm saying? So it's wasted. So that started going up. Like, you know what I'm saying? It started doing good. Like, not even really doing YouTube videos like that yet.
Right.
So bro put it and it just started going up. And you know, so he want to do music for real. He want to do this seriously. So we moved back. You know, we was going back and forth, still hustling, you know, getting money to fund this. We moved back and really started doing this serious. And then before you know it, like over just progressing, he kept recording records. I used to be on his, like, you know, he used to always want to shout his guys out, shout everybody from the hood, the lamb, you know. Now he's always telling like, look, the world don't know these. It's cool, shout these out, but you gotta start making real music, start having real songs. Like, I'm tired of every song hearing about your guy.
Yeah,
after Dirk's career began to truly flourish between 2011 and 2012, Dirk would get D-Thang, Chino and SB and invite them all to join his musical venture, and the four would start the OTF label, something that was actually documented in a noisy documentary that covered the come-up of these young music moguls. Unfortunately, almost since the start, OTF would experience some major setbacks. In May 2014, only a few days after signing his deal with the label, Dirk's cousin Newski, aka Nunu, real name MacArthur Swindle, would be gunned down in Chicago, and as was the custom at the time, DJ Academics would soon report on Newski's death in his highly sarcastic style as part of his War in Chirac YouTube series.
It's your boy DJ Academics. Restart the first 48 clock. Start pressing up RIP t-shirts because I gotta ask, is there heaven for a Chirac savage? It is with great sadness, great shock, great disbelief that I have to announce that OTF Nunu has been caught lacking at the mall and is now deceased. Now, ladies and gentlemen, please.
I don't really know much about that nigga street history, but the couple songs that he did do, he got like a couple songs, and he had a song with Dirk before he died. Shit was wang. I'm talking about shit wanging. Nigga, shit wanging. I don't know. I can't really remember the name of him, but it was OTF Newski. I don't even remember the niggas calling him Nunu. I just remember Newski on the songs and shit.
Be warned, the following story is very graphic in detail, and the involved is at maximum levels.
Following Newski's passing, some of his friends would begin to call themselves Newski Gang or Newski World in his honor. Many of these friends seemingly residing particularly in the Face World 079 hood. Newski's killer has never been caught, but online drill detectives have commonly held one man in particular responsible, this being 051 Melly, one of the most infamous people in drill music history. While practically being from different sides of the South Side, Dirk being from Lamron and Melly being from 051 Young Money, Dirk had ultimately gotten involved in a serious beef with Melly's set through Lamron's affiliated sets, such as 600, who were in a deadly beef with 051 at the time. There'd also been some people killed in the dispute between Lamron and 051 even before Newski's passing, with a Lamron member called OJ allegedly having been involved in the murder of an 051 member called Fathead, together with 600 members in 2012, while 051 on the other hand had allegedly killed Dirk's good friend and a member of Lamron called Lil Rob in 2013. Melly's friend and 051's top rapper, Lil Mark, would also directly diss Lamron and Tay-Town in his March 2014 remix of Dirk's song Competition, titled No Competition, rapping how he was smoking Taysky Pack, whom Tay-Town was named after, as well as Lil Rob, before saying that he's 300k and die L's, with L of course standing for Lamron. Only days after dropping the diss song, Lil Mark would be tragically killed at a bus stop, allegedly by Lil Durk's friends, one of these rumoured to have been King Von himself. And after this, Durk would diss Lil Mark in 600 rapper E-Day's remix to the song War, saying how he was smoking on him. Durk would also film a highly disrespectful video of himself at that very bus stop where Mark had been killed. Newski had also gotten into an online beef with Melly's good friend and Durk's former friend Mubu Crump, who had a bitter falling out with OTF sometime in 2013. And following Newski's death, Crump would film himself at Newski's death site, even saying that he was at the scene with Newski's killer, making many believe that this person was indeed Melly.
I mean, Newski. They left his right here. I'm with the did. He don't want to be on camera though.
Less than a year after Newski's death, OTF would suffer another major blow, as OTF Chino, real name Uchenna Aguina, would be gunned down in March 2015, while sitting in his car outside of a fast food spot in the 8400 block of Stony Island Avenue, after he had taken part in an anti-violence event. Newski and Chino's deaths were devastating for D-Thang, as he would often let his followers know on social media.
At a non-violence event, they gunned this nigga down.
Also remains unsolved. Once again, the same two people, Melly and Crump, would be associated with the hit, with Crump being the one to diss Chino the hardest, again going to the murder location and asking the cashier at the food shop if they had an order for Newski, calling his meal of choice the Chino burger.
Hey, y'all got that order for Newski? Chino burger. Chino burger.
Meanwhile, only a few days after Chino's murder, Melly would tweet a tribute to his fallen friend Lil Mark, together with a cryptic line that indicated that Melly had gotten some kind of get back for Mark. Melly was also fond of dissing both Newski and Chino on social media, and he too would join in on Crump's burger joke during one of his Instagram lives.
Just let me a piece. Yeah, Chino burger. That's what they said.
Crump would continue dissing Newski and Chino, sometimes aiming his words directly at D-Thang, commenting under his tribute post to Chino in 2017 how D-Thang was the reason that Chino was dead, while Lil Durk was the reason that Newski was dead. Clearly, Durk and D-Thang were big targets for their enemies in the streets who had already killed people close to both of them. According to Durk and D-Thang's mother, D-Thang himself would end up getting shot twice between 2016 and 2017, but little is known about these incidents. Fortunately, he would seemingly survive both events with relative.
My talking to Booney didn't help much because the next year he got shot again. This time it was Tay who called me. From the moment I heard my son's voice, I knew something was wrong. "Ma, where you at?" Tay asked. I frowned. "I'm home." "Okay, Ma." "He got shot." "Who got shot?" "D-Thang." "Who the fuck is D-Thang?" And he said, "Booney." I said straight up. That nigga mama don't even know him by this street shit. That shit crazy. Damn. Niggas losing their life behind this shit, bro.
Little injuries. Mubu Crump, however, wouldn't be so lucky, and in May 2018, he would meet his end as he was gunned down in front of a house party during a drive-by shooting, where Melly would allegedly also get hit, but survive. The killers have never been caught, but the most popular theory online, surprisingly, points to the rivals of OTF, particularly a member of the STL EBT set called Can't Get Right, aka Get Right or Man Man. This theory being further boosted by the claim that another STL member, the infamous shooter Wooski, was allegedly later caught with Crump's murder weapon. However, this claim has seemingly been debunked by the YouTuber Loyalty and Betrayal.
Let's just be clear. Wooski was never arrested with a gun. He was arrested because he shot somebody in the leg twice who didn't want to press charges or whatever. But he was not arrested with the gun. The gun, the shell casings that they found, that they said with that shooting, that they are, I guess, assuming go with that incident, being how the guy moved, the gun obviously moved. So I'm not sure how they matched that up to say that belonged to that. But it matched the gun that was found 10 days later after Wooski was arrested. So Wooski didn't get arrested with the gun. So all those videos have false information.
But after Dirk's recent arrest for the murder-for-hire plot, some Reddit detectives have raised a question whether Crump's murder could have also been organised by Dirk, with one Redditor pointing particularly to Dirk's December 2020 song called Red Man, where Dirk first speaks about his pain after the death.
But come on now, is a nigga that crazy to just be putting all this shit in songs, bro? That same day my cousin died, I couldn't tame it with the meds. They asked me where I'm gonna be in 10 years. I said the Fed.
Death of Newski, before rapping a now jaw-dropping line where he seems to predict ending up in federal prison in 10 years' time. Dirk then mentions how people are asking him what he'll do about someone whose name is bleeped out, but what sounds like he could be mentioning Crump, to which Dirk simply responds by saying the other person is already dead. However, these lyrics are vague at best and hardly evidence of anything other than Dirk's impressive ability to foresee his future in federal custody. Unfortunately, only a few months after the death of Mubu Crump, Dirk would experience yet another loss that would hit very close to home, as his cousin Darnell Banks, better known as OTF Baby D, was killed in a shooting in the far south side of Chicago in October 2018. But this wasn't the whole story, as Baby D was not alone at the time of the shooting, but allegedly with D-Thang, whose age at the time matches that of one of the victims reported by local news, as well as another 32-year-old man. The trio would reportedly get ambushed in a McDonald's parking lot shortly before 3 a.m, all of them sustaining multiple gunshot wounds, but thankfully D-Thang would end up surviving once again, together with
Those are 3 victims who had sustained multiple gunshot wounds. All victims refused to give any information regarding the incident. Victim number 1 was treated by Dr. Hampton and was in stable condition. Victim number 2 was seen by Dr. Lee at Christ Hospital and was not stable but serious, it was in stable but serious condition. Shit.
D-Thang and Dirk's mother would confirm him being one of the victims of the shooting, writing how this had been one of the most
serious. He got
serious
shot several times all over his body. That's what his mama said. He got shot several times all over his body, but he was alive. I thank God for giving Booney another chance.
of all of the shootings that D-Thang had survived, and how Baby D's death would leave him heartbroken. Baby D's murder would go unsolved, but Melly's name would once again begin to ring in online speculations, as photos would begin to circulate of one of Baby D's cousin wearing a Long Live Baby D shirt with a large F Melly text boldly printed on the front, together with a picture of him. Dirk would also seemingly begin to diss Melly often in his songs following Baby D's death, like saying how there is one special op that they haven't killed yet in his July 2019 song Like That.
Ain't no pass, we on your ass. Don't get caught up with your son. Is one out there. We ain't blast. After him, it ain't no fun.
Or even specifically addressing the person who killed his cousin in his August 2019
the
song
nigga that
Die
killed
Slow,
my cousin,
likely
make
being
sure
a
he
reference
dies
to
slow.
Newski or Baby D, while seemingly giving an order to his guys to make sure that he dies slowly. Shockingly, exactly 1 month after the release of this song, 051 Melly would be killed on the south side of Chicago while attending a house party at the 6100 block of St. Lawrence Avenue, this being in the hood of the Jaro City and Taekwon World sets. But despite the peculiar timing, Dirk would seemingly have nothing to do with Melly's death, as his killer would allegedly turn out to be someone with a personal vendetta against Melly, a Taekwon World member called 007 Nate, real name Nathaniel Hicks, whose house Melly had allegedly shot up leading up to the killing. However, the evidence against Nate would ultimately not meet the burden of proof beyond reasonable doubt, and despite the fact that he was apparently identified as the shooter by multiple witnesses, and seen entering the house with a gun and then fleeing the house after the shooting, and being eventually caught a few days later with the murder weapon still on him, it didn't stick. Now, if that's not a sign that you can get away with murder in Chicago, I really don't know what is. But anyway, despite having nothing to do with Melly's death, Dirk would seemingly keep dissing Melly in his songs, like rapping a bar asking how someone can get killed while partying in his December 2020 song Refugee, and rapping his intro song for the January 2021 album The Voice, that since the person who killed his cousin is dead, he finally rest, as well as seemingly calling Melly his favourite op, who's now dead, in the August 2020 song Bad Guys by the former OTF rapper Timo. D-Thang, on the other hand, would tweet in June 2020 how every op that ever shot him is now dead, and that he walks around with 50k in jewellery in his hood, with Chiracologists taking this to mean that Baby D's killer was now dead too. For D-Thang, the shooting that killed Baby D was a near-fatal moment, and should have probably served as his final warning to get as far away from Chicago as possible. But unfortunately, this was not the case, as D-Thang would seemingly keep returning to his hometown time and time again, until finally in the summer of 2021, his luck would indeed run out. It was only 2 days after Dirk hit another career high, releasing his #1 collaboration album with Lil Baby, Voice of the Heroes, during the early morning hours of the 6th of June, when D-Thang was out partying in the city of Harvey, which is in the far south side of the greater Chicago area. He was reportedly attending a strip club called Club O, located in the middle of the city's industrial district. According to the Chicago Sun-Times, who would seemingly confuse D-Thang to be a rap artist like his brother, they would explain that the shooting that killed D-Thang involved multiple guns, and even a police officer who was nearby when the shooting started, an officer who would actually get hit in their thigh during the chaos. Unfortunately, D-Thang would be shot in the head, and he was pronounced dead at the scene. Another OTF member called Trail had seemingly been at the club with D-Thang, and he too would get shot during the altercation, but would survive, later posting a thank you message to the people who had been concerned about him, as well as paying tribute to D-Thang and saying that he put his life on the line for him. Soon following D-Thang's death, there would be another deadly shooting, only an 8-minute drive away from the club, which the police would consider to be a possible retaliation. The victim in this shooting being a 39-year-old named Seneca Price. But there has since seemingly been no updates about this get-back theory. From here, the media and fans would find out about D-Thang's death, and Reddit would light up with questions and theories, with many wondering why someone as famous and wanted as D-Thang, who had so much at stake with so many enemies, would risk going out partying at such a risky
No disrespect, but being at Club O is nasty, I don't know, nasty as fuck. For Dirk to be dropping the biggest album of his career, his brother kicking it in the hood ass strip club is wild. Harvey is the hood. That area is kind of industrial, but it's still the hood.
Location. The internet would quickly turn into a hub for speculation, as amateur sleuths pieced together their own theories about what might have led to the murder, with some theories speculating that D-Thang had been killed due to his alleged past as a shooter for his Dog Pound set. These theories revolving particularly around Dog Pound's beef with a set called Dump Street, also known as Gutter Gang or Nate Block, sets that are part of the so-called No Love City alliance formed between numerous majority gangster disciple sets around Inglewood. As mentioned earlier in this video, No Love sets have been beefing with the BD sets from Inglewood, like Lamron and Dog Pound, since at least the early 2010s. Redditors would speculate that D-Thang's murder was get back for the 2013 murder of a man called 8-Ball, real name Marcus Rush, who was allegedly part of a set called CMB or Crazyville. This set having years-long ties with Dump Street, while having had at least a decade-long
niggas be dying for some shit.
Himself having
niggas be dying from inherited beef.
With the wildest theories even claiming that it was D-Thang himself who had actually killed 8-Ball, while the most attuned drill whisperers would reveal that many members of 8-Ball's set had allegedly been posting tributes to him right after D-Thang's murder, with some of these tributes still seemingly being available online. However, many would question the rumors about D-Thang being a killer, as he had always presented himself as more of a businessman than a bona fide shooter, although D-Thang himself would change his Twitter handle to D-Thang 2 times in 2017. Now, the number and X combination typically symbolizes in the drill culture the number of bodies a person had caught, with the other D-Thang from the 600 set using the same combination to seemingly claim 3 bodies. But whether D-Thang himself had been behind the murder or not, he had certainly been dissing both CMB and Dump Street, aka Gutter Gang, before his death, making sure that he still had enemies in his hometown. D-Thang had seemingly also indicated that the younger generation of CMB and Dump Street had been dissing Lil Durk and OTF.
I seen that tweet. He was like, "Oh my, was dead
already." And after D-Thang's death, CMB would seemingly return the favor by posting slick comebacks, as one member would post on his Facebook the morning after how Chief Keef had been the smart one to leave Chicago with all his friends, as they were all still alive, while another member would post how the BDs might run the industry, but the GDs still run the streets. This was followed a few days later with another member posting how they'll get into it with anyone, together with an 8-ball emoji, while another member would post how all their ops are dead. Meanwhile, some Redditors have claimed that D-Thang was killed because he had been bragging about putting money on Duck's head while being in the club that was frequented by the GDs. But whether D-Thang's murder was connected to the war,
in a way he was in the club doing no shit like that, knowing where he was at.
Not long after his death, this war would seemingly continue to claim lives, as on July the 10th, 2021, 2 men would be sprayed with bullets during a fatal incident at a Clark gas station in Inglewood. These men turned out to be a 20-year-old named Jalen Anderson and a 33-year-old called Jamie Hawkins, who were better known in the streets as Gutter Gang J-Ski and Gutter Gang Oil. Paperwork posted online by the watermark enthusiast Chusky the Real would reveal that a Jeep Cherokee had parked in the gas station for several minutes, but when Anderson and Hawkins had pulled into the gas station, at least one occupant of the Jeep would begin shooting at them before the car would flee the scene, and a search for its license plates would reveal that it was a stolen vehicle. Curiously, only a few days after this double murder, Lil Durk would make a cryptic post to his Instagram story with a picture of his brother, together with the caption, "Do it for D-Thang," as the post would be shared on Reddit soon after. One Chiracologist would comment that they
got their get back.
indeed gotten that get back, while another commenter would identify Jayski and Oil as the reason for Dirk making the post. Around the same time as Lil Durk would make this post, D-Thang's baby mother would also make an Instagram story with a picture of D-Thang, this time accompanied by the song Lick Back by the rapper ESDG, a song that essentially describes the need for always getting revenge. These posts would prompt many Redditors to believe that OTF was indeed behind this gas station hit, but violence would continue to follow Dirk from here, and just a month after his brother's passing, and a few days after the gas station shooting, a strange shootout episode would take place at Dirk's home in Brazelton, Georgia, where unidentified invaders would break in with unknown motives in the middle of the night. Apparently Dirk and his partner India would reportedly fight back by shooting at the intruders, but seemingly everyone would survive the shootout without any serious injuries, but the intruders would actually escape the scene before the police arrived, and at this point there's been very little information about what this whole incident was about. If you ask me, timing is incredibly suspicious, and may well have been in retaliation for those 2 murders that followed D-Thang's death. After the
Y'all don't think them niggas got back that fast, huh? That shit crazy.
home invasion, some months would pass.
Dirk
In
got
October,
back fast
Nardo
if he
Wick
did the shit they
released his
said he
smash hit,
did.
Who Wants Smoke, featuring
Couple days
all-star group
apart.
features, including 21 Savage, G Herbo, and Lil Durk, together with a music video directed by the music video prodigy Cole Bennett. In his verse, Nardo Wick would rap a funny line about how he even pumps gas with his gun so his ops can't surprise him, something which Dirk would then reference in his own verse, but adding how listeners better do like Nardo says, because people will die while pumping gas, which seemed to be yet another reference to the murders of Jayski and Oil at the gas station. This was followed about a week later with Dirk's song Pissed Me Off, which he would begin by paying tribute to his brother and seemingly saying they got back for him. Dirk would then rap several bars about his need for revenge after losing people close to him, even specifically mentioning how he can not feel happy until he gets back to his bro, something that seems to say a lot about his mindset at the time. Dirk would then even directly reference the shootout that happened in his home, which makes me think he's letting us know that this is indeed connected to those cases. However, so far, Dirk's hints about the alleged get back for his brother had been relatively vague compared to the self-snitching extraordinaires of modern-day drill music like Lil Jeff and Q50. But on the 27th of January 2022, the plot would thicken considerably, as 24-year-old Stefan Mack was killed after leaving a youth peace center in the Roseland neighborhood, located in the far south side of Chicago. Before the tragedy would strike, Stefan, who was also known as Youngin, was visiting the youth center where he was reportedly an active participant. Meanwhile, a black Chrysler would enter the center's parking lot with 2 men waiting inside the vehicle for about 40 minutes, seemingly waiting for Stefan.
Them niggas love Chryslers, bro. I said this shit last time. Them niggas love sliding in them motherfuckers.
To exit the center. Then, at around 3 p.m, when Stefan would step outside and begin to walk towards his car, 2 masked men would exit the Chrysler and begin shooting at him, with Stefan attempting to flee by running in the opposite direction. One of the shooters, armed with a Ruger AR-556 semi-automatic rifle, would chase Stefan across the parking lot before shooting him from a distance, which would cause Stefan to collapse on the ground near train tracks, where the shooter would run up to him and finish the job. Shortly after, the youth center's security guard would step outside to find out what was causing the noise, which would prompt the second assailant to shoot him in the leg with a handgun. The shooters would then abandon the Chrysler in the parking lot and escape on foot. The security cameras capturing one of the assailants with a heavy build running away from the scene, and later that day, police would recover the Ruger AR rifle from the backyard of a vacant residence located nearby. Sometime after Stefan's murder, Dirk and an OTF member called Chug would once again make suggestive posts on their Instagram stories, both using the caption,
"This shit crazy."
for D-Thang, with Dirk also using the name of his recent song, Aha, which at this point hadn't even been released yet, while Chug would refer to something being a sad case. Not long after, at the beginning of February, one Chiracologist would post these stories to Reddit, whilst also linking them to the murder of Stefan, who the poster claimed to be a member of the set Smashville 85th, whilst also allegedly having connections with the so-called Melly Way that's named in honor of 051 Melly, with some even claiming that Stefan was in fact Melly's cousin. Smashville is located around 85th Street in the Auburn Gresham neighborhood in the far south side of the city, far away from the childhood stomping grounds of D-Thang and Dirk in Inglewood. However, the set is affiliated with the Dump Street, aka Gutter Gang, from West Inglewood, who have been rumored to be behind D-Thang's murder. There weren't initially many theories about who were the 2 people behind the murder, but unbeknownst to the public at the time, the alleged killers were making sneaky references to their crimes on social media. For example, on the 15th of February, a man called Mike City AJ would post on his Facebook how his set had been spanking their ops so much that they're about to give up. As his name indicates, Mike City AJ has ties to a set called Mike City, or Mike Block, also known as Gator Gang, a BD set located on 86th and Morgan, which is named in honor of their fallen member Mike, who was killed in 2012. Lamron and Taytown have seemingly been affiliated with Mike City for at least a decade at this point, and AJ himself has clearly been close with Taytown members on social media for a while, even seemingly appearing in a March 2021 music video of TTE Day Day, who's one of Dirk's oldest friends from Taytown. A YouTuber called Kenny Rogers, who claims to be from the same neighborhood, would open up about AJ's childhood and reputation in the streets, telling how AJ and other young'uns from Mike City City were like sicarios, a private army for hire with a feared reputation, who would eventually get affiliated with OTF members such as Booney Mo.
Watch the and did what we did. You know, but AJ, they decided, like, they like scenarios, well, I say scenario, sicarios. You know what I'm talking about, like a private army for hire. You know what I'm saying? Now, we warned them about that because when the guys came out there trying to connect and all that, like, no, we've been holding our own. What's like the, we know what y'all own. Y'all ain't finna use them. But, you know, the younger guys got into too many, you know, they wanted to make a name for themselves. They wanted to hang around because of their name and like that. But we was telling them, y'all bigger than them. Real talk. But AJ, yeah, they was feared, and you can hire them to kill your cat if you wanted to, and not having somebody have your paperwork on the internet. Now you being affiliated with Booney Mo and OTF and all that other, and you know, doing it to allegedly Stephen Matt 051 cousin.
Indeed, on the 21st of February, less than a month after Stefan Mack's murder, Dirk would drop his music video for the song Aha, which was filmed in Chicago. Later on, online detectives would notice that in one of the Instagram stories posted by people who were at the video shoot, you can see someone who looks a lot like Mike City AJ, showing that
These
he
niggas
was
is
possibly
fucking
connected
private
all the way to the very
investigators,
top
I
of
swear to
the OTF
God.
hierarchy. But what people would also notice were the rather revealing lyrics that Dirk was dropping in the song. First, he would begin with a disclaimer saying how everything he's about to say is just entertainment.
Hey, this shit like videos, you hear me? Everything I'm saying just in this motherfucker, just all props. Just in case the police listen, you know what I'm saying? Smirk.
And not real. Dirk then mentions how his shooters have been sliding through their ops block, but the
We've been sliding through their blocks and they don't know we had. Buddy ass got shot and we ain't claiming but I can show his ass.
don't even know it, and that someone from the ops side got shot, and while Dirk didn't claim it, he can show them proof. Dirk would then seemingly be done with beating around the bush, as he would explicitly state how he's been heavy on the downers since D-Thang got killed, but they already got back for him, and that their ops know it, but they don't post on social media so the police don't find out. Dirk would then seemingly change his mind about this all being just entertainment, as he would swear on his brother's life that everything he's speaking is facts, not just a diss. Dirk would then end his first verse by saying how people might say that he's just a singer, so he won't kill anyone, but he doesn't care what they think, because he got their friend shot. The hook of the song would even acknowledge that Dirk's activities will put him in jail, dropping locations and getting revenge, and that the feds will soon come. It seems that Dirk was sending a lot of messages with this song, but likely only the people involved in these Chicago gang wars would truly understand. But what he was clearly putting out there for the whole world to see was that his brother D-Thang's death was still weighing heavily on his mind, and that for him, this in fact was not just entertainment. Meanwhile, in May 2022, a rapper from the Dump Street or Gutter Gang called GG Juju would release his song titled Don't Be a Fool. He would seemingly diss D-Thang by rapping how he will not be searched when going to a club, before mentioning how that is how a fool got killed, and saying that if people mention Gutter Gang, they're going to end up on the news. Juju would also seemingly diss Dirk, saying how some people are always acting too tough on their songs and always rapping about switches and drakes, but that they got them too. This likely being a reference to Dirk literally having a song titled Switches and Drakes. After this, some time would pass, but on the 6th of June 2022, exactly 1 year after D-Thang's passing, Dirk would make another cryptic post on his Instagram story quoting lyrics about someone getting hit and how certain people are only known in the city because of their friends who got killed. But instead of signing the post with his usual moniker, The Voice, he would sign it this time as The Pump, which some internet sleuths would believe to be yet another sign that Dirk was making a reference to the murders of J-Ski and Oil taking place at a gas station pump. Meanwhile, Dirk's friend and OTF member Booney Mo would post a much clearer message simply stating F the dump, this seeming like a rather obvious reference to the Dump Street set. The following month in July, Dirk and the rapper Lil Zay Osama would release the song F My Cousin Part 2, and this time, Dirk wouldn't hold back one bit, rapping a direct threat to his ops that if they were even at the scene when his brother was killed, they're going to die too, before mentioning specifically his ops from the west, with Dump Street being located directly to the west of Taytown and Lamron, saying how 2 of their members died immediately after D-Thang's death. At this point, it seemed obvious that if Dirk wasn't directly claiming the hit of J-Ski and Oil, he was at least dissing them openly. And then, in December, Booney Mo would release his single titled For Real, together with a lavish music video that was posted on Dirk's YouTube channel. And in the song, Booney would repeat Dirk's bar about 2 people dying the next day, whilst also seemingly referring to a shooting that killed Dethang as fluky, which some believe supports the idea that Dethang might not have even been killed on purpose and was in fact simply hit by a ricocheting bullet. This theory also being supported by the news report about the shooting, with the police describing how Dethang was simply caught amongst a barrage of bullets. In April 2023, On A Couch TV would post a hood vlog with none other than Dump Street. But interestingly, they were also joined by the rapper 85th Lil Smoke, who just so happens to be from Smashville, the very hood where Stefan was allegedly from, showing that these sets were indeed very close with each other. In the comments of the video, one viewer would ask On A Couch TV to ask him about Dethang, but he would reply, calling that viewer federal, before saying that he knew that they wouldn't answer questions about that anyway. But still, On A Couch would seize the moment and ask them about Dirk, inquiring whether they considered Dirk to be the voice of Chicago, which would surprisingly receive a rather cordial response from the crew, who say he's a good rapper, but he's not the voice of the streets, and that he can't stop the gang war.
How y'all feel about Dirk basically taking the title as the voice of the Chicago, like what he say was go on in the trenches?
No shit, what you mean?
He can rap.
He can rap. I ain't lying, but voice of what trenches? Ain't nobody run. Nobody run. Nobody run. No, listen, bro.
He's a good rapper.
You know, he can rap.
Well,
he can sing. Voice, he run probably his side of town. All of them. But when you speak,
he from that side of the
rappers, and everybody can relate to him.
Because he was basically saying, like, if somebody like him came down and wanted to bring peace in Chicago, like, it actually happened.
That happened, man, because too much blood shit in the city.
Yeah, his ain't nobody.
Like, he ain't gonna like it. You can come in your hood, show what the to it, not yeah, but you ain't no, you can't do that for you can't talk for everybody. You can talk for you.
Meanwhile, Dirk would keep hinting at the get back for Dethang in his songs, like in the track Pellicoat that he would drop in May as part of his Almost Healed album, where he would once again rap how 2 people had died after Dethang's murder. A few months later, on the death day of J-Ski and Oil, a member of a set called Melt Gang, who were affiliated with Dump Street, aka Gutter Gang, would finally send a clear message back to Dirk by posting an Instagram story with a caption that he was smoking on Dethang. In response, a member of Face World 079, aka Newski Gang, who were affiliated with Dog Pound and close to Dirk, would share a post about the murders of Oil and J-Ski to his Instagram profile, together with Lil Durk's Pellicoat song, and specifically the part of the song that says how 2 people died after Dethang's death, while his very next post would say that Oil and J-Ski were his favourite people to smoke. The dissing between these 2 alliances had now gone far beyond small subliminal jabs to damn near federal public confessions. But things were about to get a lot more interesting, because in October 2023, Mike City AJ, real name Anthony Montgomery Wilson, together with another man called Marley, real name Preston Powell, would be charged with the murder of Stefan Mack. But this was no ordinary state charge, this was a federal charge, and this was no typical murder charge either. This was a murder for hire. Yes, murder for hire in 2023, as the feds would allege that AJ and Marley had been in contact with someone in another state who had promised them a reward for the murder of Stefan. Following these charges, AJ would be arrested and taken into custody, but Marley would seemingly make a run for it, with the FBI releasing a wanted poster for him, and even local news reporting on his attempt to avoid the law. At the time, it was already clear that the feds were holding any information regarding this case close to their chest, as the file docket for the case is full of sealed documents. But the reason for this would be revealed in December 2024, as the feds would suddenly unseal more documents related to the case in the lead up to Dirk's detention hearing in the Lil Pab case, including an application for a search warrant in Texas, and more importantly, an affidavit in support of that application. This affidavit, which dates all the way back to April 2023, would reveal explosive information that the feds were indeed investigating Lil Durk's connection to the murder of Stefan Mack. The affidavit would provide numerous interesting details about Mack's murder, including the fact that Mike City AJ had done a C-Day and left his phone at the crime scene, and that while at the crime scene, he was calling Marley by name. While after the murder,
I was thinking that I seen the pictures they showing. I seen that camera footage. That nigga was screaming the nigga name in the footage. Marley.
The 2 had been openly discussing their upcoming payment from Lil Durk, and after seemingly receiving the payment, AJ had been bragging about it and claiming the hit on social media by posting himself with a big stack of cash, together with the lyrics from Lil Durk's Aha song, with findings like these prompting Chiracologists online to joke how Durk had hired the dumbest assassins on earth to do the job. An employee of the youth center would also allegedly reveal to the feds that the killers had been tipped off about Mack's location by 2 brothers from a set called Risky Road, who seemingly knew Marley, aka Powell, as he lived in their hood at the time of the crime. But the paperwork would also reveal some interesting background information. For example, the feds would claim that Mac was not only affiliated with Smashville, but according to their informant, he was in fact the set's leader. Another informant, on the other hand, would claim that Lil Durk was offering money for the murder of those responsible for his brother's death, and even for the murder of any gangster disciple in general. The same informant would also reveal that Dump Street had indeed been behind D-Thang's murder, and that Mac had been a close associate with a Dump Street member who the feds referred to as Individual A. Individual A would turn out to be a man named Green, who had been arrested in 2021 for an unrelated double murder, and who would be better known in the streets as Gutter Gang Puke, or simply GG Puke, as his rap name would be. Following the release of this paperwork, many would start to claim that GG Puke was in fact the Dump Street member responsible for the murder of D-Thang, although the feds would not explicitly make this connection in the paperwork, as they would simply state that according to their informant, D-Thang was killed by members, plural, of Dump Street, and that Puke, aka Individual A, was a close associate of Mac, not that Individual A killed D-Thang. However, to many, it would seem that the feds were heavily alluding to Puke being the one responsible for the murder, and the reason why Mac was ultimately killed. It's also worth noting that the Chiracologist had been alluding to a locked-up rapper from the Dump Street being responsible for D-Thang's death even before the new paperwork, and after Puke's name would begin to circulate, the online sleuths would quickly uncover a 7-year-old Zach video showing Puke hanging out in Harvey, the very city where D-Thang would eventually be killed. Meanwhile, Lil Durk's music has continued to provide more insights into the events related to his brother's death. In early 2024, his song called Survivor, or I Did It Without You, was leaked online, the lyrics seemingly describing why Durk would eventually fall out with his old set Lamron, siding fully with the Tay-Town instead, as Durk would seemingly insinuate that Lamron had not tried to retaliate after D-Thang's death, and that if he catches any Dump Street members on Lamron's block, he's going to kill them and the Lamron members with them. Around the same time as this song would leak, Dump Street rapper GG Montana would post a snippet to his song where he appears to be taking shots at Durk, literally taunting him about D-Thang's murder while saying that they're beefing with real rap goofies. For now, there's no charges against Durk in the murder of Stephon Mack, and it seems that these documents were unsealed more in an effort to prevent Durk from getting bail on the Lil Pab murder case. Ultimately, only time will tell if he will end up going down for his brother too. But what's most interesting is that if Durk was indeed using his rap money to pay for his enemies to be killed in the streets, from here, his career would only continue to rise, and rather suspiciously, so too would the body count, as more and more of those people who Durk had issues with would wind up dead, with Durk never missing an opportunity to jump on the mic and brag about these murders for the whole world to hear. While the murders of D-Thang's killers were incredibly personal to Lil Durk, the murder of FBG Duck was very much just business as usual in the world of Chicago's long-running gang wars. But while Duck at the time had been the face of the gangster disciples in his city, after his murder, one of his close friends would step up to fill the void that he left. This was the rapper FBG Cash, real name Tristan Hamilton. Born on October the 5th, 1990, Cash was several years older than most of his peers in the early drill scene, including his little brother, FBG Young, who was born in 1996. Cash was born into a family of GDs, and with his father being in the streets too, Cash would be exposed to that lifestyle early, jumping off the porch in his grade school years.
Yeah, my pop was always in the streets. As kids, we was already in the street, exposed to the street. You know what I'm saying? It was just a time we had to come home, but we saw everything that who ain't from the streets and ain't jumped off the porch ain't saw. We saw all at a young age so far as like coming out, doing shit on my own through grade school years, you know what I'm saying? Anytime I got a chance to pop out and go somewhere without my people attendance, you know what I'm saying? I was in the streets, so.
Cash and Young's family would eventually move to around the 63rd and St. Lawrence area when Cash was in 9th grade, and there they would join the local gang set, STL EBT, and begin to spend time with other guys from the set, like Duck and Dutchie. The four would eventually form the rap group Flyboy Gang, aka FBG, together with rappers like Lil J, Billionaire Black, Duck's brother Brick, and Wooski, who was always more in the streets than in the booth, but would still rep the name at times in his music. However, before that, in 2009, when Cash was only 18 years old, he would get arrested for an armed robbery and get sentenced to 6 years, which meant that Cash would end up being locked up during the critical years when the war between the GDs and BDs would begin to escalate in the Woodlawn area. While Young and Dutchie and Duck would first begin to rap under the FBG moniker, and the drill movement as a whole would begin to form, with artists from the Woodlawn and Washington Park neighborhoods playing a key role in the genre's birth. With good time though, Cash would ultimately end up only doing 31 months, and in 2011 he would be released on house arrest. Cash would seemingly spend his time on social media, where he was making his affiliations known. His first tweet being how he's repping Dale Mob, a name that STL EBT would call themselves after the murder of Dale Fisher in December 2011. And of course, repping their rap group FBG that he was now part of, as well as shouting out their affiliates like the MOB set and the Brick Squad, or dissing their ops, like Fredo Santana, aka Mr. Scary Sight, and E-Day from 600. Cash was clearly studying the new drill scene, and seeing it blow up right in front of him, he too would decide to get into rapping and make a name for himself. Being now part of the FBG crew, who were already making noise within the scene, Cash was in a great position to make it rapping, but he also had an ace up his sleeve to go viral. See, when Cash had been 16, he'd been messing around with an older woman, but this wasn't just any woman. This was Chief Keef's mother, Lolo, who used to live in the Parkway Gardens, better known as O-Block. Now, with Keef being possibly the hottest new artist in the world at that point, and being the #1 enemy of Cash's STL EBT set due to often dissing them and their dead member Tuka in his music, Cash decided to clap back and use his old fling with Keef's mother to create publicity for himself in the drill scene, as he would many years later explain to a very confused Adam 22 who had seemingly missed this part of the early drill history.
How'd you go about getting into the music?
Like, I felt like, so like, it was already ahead of me in the race. That wasn't even a race for us, but they was already off, you know what I'm saying? So I'm like, I ain't want to just be the one to just drop a song and then they do poor, you know what I'm saying? So I was trying to do something to grab their attention. I started, I made me and I ain't even make a Twitter yet. I was on Instagram, and it wasn't even popping like that. It wasn't no live, but like, it was some that happened with me and Chief Keef's mama, and that just put me over the top, like, as far as like people want to know who I am.
Back then in 2012?
Like, yeah, like that's when it came to.
What happened with his mom?
Like, I used to with her. Like, yeah. Yeah. I ain't gonna count, you know what I'm saying? It's been said before, like, I ain't even have to bring it up. That's my people, you know what I'm saying? She cool people, but like, me and her relationship, like, not a relationship, but relations, like, what started me rapping.
Really?
Yeah.
I kind of feel weird, like, I feel like you might be trolling me, and I don't want to have a serious conversation about it if you're just trolling me, but, you know.
In the summer of 2012, Cash would film himself calling Chief Keef's mother without her knowledge and trick her into admitting their relationship, with the video then getting posted online, where it would soon find itself going viral on World.com, the biggest hip-hop culture platform at the time.
Calling Chief Keef's mom, man. Real.
This nigga's a demon, bro. We got this nigga mama on the phone. He said that nigga name and everything. That's the nigga mama for real, bro. That shit crazy. Well, you know how pissed I'd be.
Widespread rumors and even created more animosity between these two warring gangs. But some people on Keef's side would seemingly also find it funny too, with King Von himself even tweeting about the incident, making fun of Keef, calling Cash his stepdad. The drill fans' eyes were now on Cash too, but soon after, a tragedy would strike, as Cash's good friend Lil Jojo would end up getting killed. But that wasn't all, because after Jojo's death, Worldstar would make a post out of it, calling Lil Jojo the brother of Cash, or Cash Out as he was going by the time. Cash would further boost his name by doing a radio interview where he would discuss his beef with Chief Keef and the death of Lil Jojo, as well as his plans to become a rapper.
Got a mixtape coming out, but you know him from the controversy that's been going on up in Chicago in the rap scene, and you also know him from Worldstar Hip Hop. My homeboy, Mr. Cash Out. Cash Out, what's going on?
What's going on, man?
Not much, man. I mean, I told you when they said you were looking for him, I said, man, let me go on and get underground and he go and hide the fuck
out. Man, I don't know how that play out, but I know I ain't hard to be found though.
I ain't mad at you. Now, I want the people to understand, one, why you're here, because there's a lot of stuff we want to talk about. We're going to get into rap stuff. We're just going to get into real life stuff, so we're going to allow you to talk about everything. But why don't you tell them what transpired to make you seek me out?
Man, my name Cash Out, man. Cash Out 063. I'm 63rd St. Lawrence. And I've been in the streets since I was a shorty, man. Everything I do is valid. Everything I do got a stamp on it. I started a Twitter page. I just recently come home from prison, so a lot of this stuff, like, it ain't new to me, but since it's been in the media and everything, like, it's basically our hood where I'm from. It's like in the spotlight right now. I'm like a trending topic right now, so.
After getting his name in the mix through his wild antics, he would then begin to drop music together with other FBG-affiliated artists, such as Lil J, Billionaire Black, and Lil Jojo's brother Swag De Niro, and King Yella. He would then even drop a dedicated diss track to Chief Keef, which he would start by saying how it's F Chief Keef, F O Block, and F Lamron, before making his own gang affiliations with STL EBT known, as well as once again dissing the 300 movement, saying how they're going to shoot anyone who reps it. While dropping music, Cash would also remain a menace on social media, where he would further aim his disses towards his ops like 300, and specifically making fun of Lil Durk, like retweeting someone who was mentioning a rumor that Cash's good friend Boss Trell had beat up Lil Durk or Lil Reese, with Boss Trell, real name Rodney Stewart, being one of STL EBT's most known shooters at the time, who had even been rumored to have killed O.D. Perry, whom O-Block is named after, together with the alleged female assassin K.I., aka Jakira Barnes. Cash would also diss Durk's manager Chino, saying that he doesn't even know who he is. Some people from Lamron would engage back with Cash, daring him to come to their hood, but Cash would inform them that he doesn't do Twitter beefing. When K.I., who was often having back and forths with King Von on Twitter, would tweet that she wants to meet Von face to face, Cash would respond and say that he likes Von and wants to meet him too, to which Von would respond and warn both of them they do not want that, and that he will meet them when they least expect it. With Cash being several years older than Von, he most likely just saw him as a kid, so Cash would let Von know that he himself has a fearsome reputation in the streets, and all Von has to do is ask around. But Von wasn't impressed the slightest, saying that if Cash ever starts coming back outside, they can bump heads. Cash would continue to talk about his reputation as a moneymaker, but Von would tell Cash to ask his friends about him instead, referring to his reputation as a killer since he'd already at this point had a rumored 4 bodies under his belt by the end of October 2012, with this Twitter exchange seemingly taking place the very same day that Von had allegedly murdered Gyro City member P5. Cash would then end the back and forth, saying that he still likes Von and confirming that his name is indeed ringing in the streets, but Von doesn't make any money like him. This statement perhaps revealing a certain generational gap that already existed between the likes of Cash and Von, despite the two having only a 4-year age difference, with Cash being part of the older generation of hustlers, while Von was part of the new generation of gangsters who was much more interested in making their name as a killer rather than a moneymaker. But still, it was clear that Cash was savvy to the ways of the new generation when it came to online trolling, as he clearly didn't mind doing the most to garner attention, like tweeting how he was in Lamron's hood at a gas station and that locals were so broke that they were asking him for spare change, and posting himself in front of O-Block, aka Parkway Gardens sign, or even posting a photo where he said that he was with Chief Keef's daughter, KK. This perhaps being made possible by Keef's mother, who might have still been messing around with Cash even after he had outed their relationship. Lil Durk too would continue to be might have still been messing around with.
Ain't no way he was with that nigga baby, bro. This nigga's a demon. I ain't know he was doing all this. I ain't know Cash was doing all this.
Cash even after he had outed their relationship. Lil Durk too would continue to be trolled by Cash, who would let him know.
I've seen a lot of that shit from the early days, but
after Durk had released a music video for his song This Ain't What You Want, where he can be seen rocking the brand. An interesting detail when you consider that Durk dropped a hit song called Pellico years later. After some time went on, when Cash would announce that nobody who dissed him had ever returned back to the hood, this would prompt a fan to tell Cash to say that to Lil Durk, to which Cash would boastfully respond by asking when had Durk ever dared to diss him. Years later, the Reddit Chiracologists would ponder why Cash had been dissed so little by his ops lyrics compared to some of his peers, with the consensus seemingly being that one part of this was the fact that Cash would end up getting locked up numerous times throughout the 2010s, therefore being out of sight and out of mind from his ops for a long period. However, as we know, Lil Durk would diss many of Cash's good friends, even in the early songs, and when Durk would drop the song Competition, where he raps how he's trying to kill Duck's brother, Brick, aka 30, and Motor from Jaro City, Cash would gleefully tweet to Motor asking if he had heard the new diss. In December 2013, it was finally time for Cash to drop his own mixtape titled No More Free Cash, which would include the song like Dear Boss Trell, a tribute to his friend who had gotten killed in November 2012 under mysterious circumstances. The song including now ominous lyrics like how Cash couldn't wait to meet his friend in the afterlife, and asking Boss Trell to save a spot for him in heaven because he's coming to join him, but he doesn't know when. And of course, the tape would also include another diss towards Chief Keef titled War With Who, where Cash would call himself the lieutenant of his set, whilst also dissing dead O-Block members like J Money and O.D. Perry. In May 2014, when Durk's cousin Nooski, aka OTF Nunu, would be killed, allegedly by Cash's good friend 051 Melly, Cash would immediately take to Twitter to troll Nooski's friends by making a tribute post to him. Then, a few days later, Cash would tweet again how they were up on the scoreboard while their ops were hurting bad, to which someone would reply by saying that they might be leading in bodies, but 300 and OTF were now making way more money, which would prompt Cash to reply and argue that they were also making plenty of money in their hood. Then, when Durk's manager Chino was killed in March 2015, 051 Melly, who was allegedly also behind this murder, would tweet about a month later how he needed a baseball jersey for the coming weekend, to which Cash would reply that Melly might need a Boston Celtics jersey the way he's been sweeping it up, as the Celtics at the time had just been swept in the playoffs by losing 4 matches in a row against the Cleveland Cavaliers. Melly would respond by jokingly calling Cash a goofy, to which Cash would respond by cryptically saying that somebody has to wear the shirt because of the way they're sweeping, with it not being clear if Cash was talking about the GDs or basketball at this point. While Melly would respond by seemingly denying that he had anything to do with either crime, Cash would also continue to diss Nooski, as he would take lyrics from Chief Keef's hit song Earned It, where Keef disses Tuka. He would also tweet saying that the last time someone tried something, they ended up dead, together with the hashtag Nooski, which is in fact a lyric from his song with Wooski titled Give No Fs, where he appears to insinuate that Nooski had tried to run up with his friends before getting killed himself. Cash did so much trolling that it was sometimes hard to tell if he was being serious or not, like when Lil Durk would make his pop-adjacent collabs with his at the time girlfriend Dej Loaf. Cash would tweet how their song was actually alright, but in 2016, Cash would get into a particularly bad situation with the law, as he was arrested and allegedly charged with 4 felonies, which would end up getting him locked up for an even longer period, before eventually getting released in August 2017, and getting back to his usual activities like releasing music by himself and with his FBG brothers, and now also beginning to enjoy the increased attention that the whole FBG was getting due to Duck's song Slide becoming a hit. But one thing that Cash was doing less was his usual antics of dissing and trolling the ops, perhaps due to having so many other things to focus on in his life at this point. By then, he had largely moved past these old school street beefs. However, not everyone close to Cash was following this trajectory. After all, in January 2018, his good friend Wooski would release his song Computers Remix, one of the most infamous diss songs in all of the history of Chicago drill, where Wooski would let the ops have it, including guys like Lil Durk, Nooski, Pluto, and Chino. Cash wouldn't smoke either, as he too would proudly take part in the music video. Unfortunately, Cash would eventually get in trouble with the law once again, this time for threatening a police officer, and soon he would find himself behind bars once again, before seemingly getting released during the summer of 2020. However, not long after, in June 2020, an incident would take place that would significantly escalate the beef between Cash and OTF, as Cash would get sucker punched at the famous Lenox Mall in Atlanta, allegedly by none other than Lil Durk's childhood friend Day Day from Tay-Town, after which Tay-Town members like OTF Didi would allegedly join in and chase Cash out of the mall.
Change. RP my cousin, my heartbeat will be the same. Oh, what the hell? Damn.
Cash will talk about the incident on Instagram Live, mocking those who attacked him for failing to steal his chain and not doing anything of note to him despite being alone.
These so weak, folks. I ain't even gonna lie to you.
Hey, G, let me find out you in the bathroom, G.
Folks, them people just, I'm in the dressing room. These jumped on me in Lennox right now.
No.
Like 7, folks, and then they didn't even take my chain. They didn't even run my pockets. They didn't even take my phone.
I would have blinked they. So what the issue was?
No, just FBG, Tuka. They didn't even take the chain. He, a little bit, something, she spit, she like, I spit some for you.
Some fans would later speculate that Dirk was indirectly referencing this incident in his song All Love, where he rapped how his ops are always getting jumped at malls, but this song had in fact been released months prior to the incident. However, Day Day himself would seemingly mention the incident in a March 2021 song, Catch a Op, with THFTP, where he raps about catching an op in the small, before specifically mentioning jumping Cash and Wooski. In October 2020, just a week before King Von would be tragically killed, he would release his debut album, Welcome to O-Block, which featured the classic drill anthem, Back Again, featuring Lil Durk and Prince Dre, a song that starts with Dirk rapping how he doesn't even ask when it comes to Cash. If his goons catch him, they're gonna shoot him. The fans have commonly understood these lyrics to be about FBG Cash, with Lil Durk saying that he doesn't even ask his goons to shoot Cash because they know that it's expected of them if they see him. However, the lyrics could also have an alternative meaning, with Dirk essentially saying that he doesn't even ask his goons how much they want for a hit because money doesn't mean anything to him when he wants his ops dead. But whatever the intended meaning of the lyrics were, it seems that Cash too thought these lyrics were about him, and after Von's death, he would immediately begin disrespecting him, responding to Boss Top's tribute to Von, telling him to shut his mouth. In February 2022, Cash's disrespect towards Von would get even worse, as he would post a picture on Instagram standing in front of King Von's mural while throwing up the middle finger. But that wasn't even the most disrespectful part, as in the caption of the photo, he would write how the whole world witnessed O-Block's main shooter getting killed. Taking this photo was something that Cash later eerily claimed that Lil Durk had actually dared him to do in his DMs, revealing this to Adam22 on No Jumper and explaining that him and Lil Durk would actually talk privately.
Oh yeah, so why'd you take that picture with the King Von mural?
Dirk told me to.
How did he tell you to?
He through text. Nah, he blocked me now, but yeah, through text.
What you want to show me your conversation with him?
Nah, he blocked me. He blocked me.
The conversation's still there, right?
Nuh-uh.
You delete text?
Yeah, like when I only see, I ain't big on confrontation sometimes. You know what I'm saying? Like most times, I ain't big on confrontation. So when I go to, I don't know. And then that was distasteful, man. Like,
what was
that we was talking
what
like
kind of
that.
conversation were you having before he told you to go take this photo?
Me, him, go over there and do that. See what happened to you. I'm outside right now.
You hit him up?
Yeah. Yeah.
And he was just like, hey, what's up? Why, Chicago's so weird because the ops always be talking to each other and like going on live and tweeting at each other.
Nah, it ain't everybody. It's just the weird I'm like talking about.
I don't see a ton of that in LA.
I told Dirk stop sneak dissing me before he left me on scene.
Really? So you kept barking on him?
No, I just left it. He left me on scene. I just left it alone in the DM.
Right.
Going back and forth with the ops was apparently a common thing, as other DMs between Cash and O-Block's Mana Duke would later leak online too.
Hey Duke, listen to me, folks. Listen to what I'm saying, folks. Pull your skirt down, folks. You not making no noise, folks. I'll ball you up and put you in the garbage can, boy. You can't see me with binoculars, dude. You can't see me on no type of level, folks. You better stop sharing them bankrolls with niggas, folks. You can't beat me on the song. You can't beat me at fighting, spit, none of that weightlifting. We can pitch quarters. You can't beat me, dude. You hear me?
You can say we can pitch quarters. You can't beat me.
I'm trying to get some followers up. Man, hey, look here. Go to your room.
A few days after the mural kicked, Cash would double down by
This
releasing
is
the
not
song
funny,
Back
bro,
Again
but
2
this shit
times,
is stupid.
a direct
It's so-
reference to Von's song Back Again, where Dirk had seemingly dissed him. The music video starts with Cash watching a clip of Dirk's $1 million worth of game episode where OTF sings along to the original Back Again song dissing Wooski.
We into it till you die, real street. Some funeral, I like this side. Rest in peace. Shoot up everybody that's outside. When we feel this one, I know who's still twisted. He changed something different.
The song itself would be a pure diss song towards Dirk and the entire OTF, as Cash would go back to back dissing their members, like saying how OTF Varney got put in a wheelchair and how Lil Durk still hasn't gone back for Von. He would also diss Lil Durk's fallen friend, Pluto and Lil Mo from Ramron, and even Dirk's brother D-Thang, saying that he doesn't go to Club O anymore where D-Thang died. It was no surprise then that Lil Durk would seemingly respond to Cash soon after, as he would allegedly post and delete an Instagram story with a cryptic message saying that someone shouldn't be dissing D-Thang if they're chasing girls and lingering in places because it won't end well. And also in March, Dirk would release his song Computer Murderers, which appeared to address Cash's photo in front of the Von mural, as Dirk warned someone about sneaking pics in front of the mural like his goons won't come out from O-Block and shoot them. Only a few months later, things would really begin to go wrong for FBG Cash, as the Chicago YouTuber and hip-hop journalist Drea O would later reveal. Cash would do an interview with her sometime in May, where he would reveal that he had recently been in an incident where he and a girl he was with had been shot at while they were in the car during the early morning hours.
Look, I got so I did right? Cause like folks, somebody had just shot me last week, but they were just like so mild.
You
So,
got shot.
but it wasn't. Look, it wasn't shot. Look, look, this what they did. This what they did. Like fuck.
Did you get shot as bullet fragments?
They bullet fragments. So look, this was the did. I was in the car with them. Hell no. Look. So like this one is the one that went through the car. I was in the passenger seat. He flamed that bitch up and saw through the front window in the back. Knocked the back window out, everything. So like
You were driving and shooting at you?
no, I was in the passenger seat, so that nigga shooting so hard I couldn't even. It was this female, like, and then I know I think it was her because like I was at her crib at like 4:20 in the morning. Her just left rap a lot, so I was sitting at her crib. And a guy kept on calling her phone. I won't call. So I'm like, she's like, oh my God, he steady calling. I'm like, who? He's like, my boyfriend. I'm like, all right. She was like, I hope he don't come over here. So like my girl was sitting right here. I'm like, see what, you got keys to your crib or something? She was like, yeah, damn, now you see, yeah, I forgot I gave him keys. Don't matter, but I'm like.
This just sounds so stupid though.
Oh, fuck that.
You moving that sloppy, my nigga?
Of course, now I'm like, all right, man, we kicking it. So I'm like, yeah, I want to get up out of here. But I had parked my car, so I get in the car with her, boom. So that man, her tent's light as hell, so I raised my seat all the way back. So we got off, we was on my way to my crib there. And she was like, oh my God, why they always on me like that? My gun like this, I always sit on my gun and shit. Like, somebody asked the police. No, they ain't the police. So I looked up just a little bit, like, oh, ain't the police. Went back on my phone. Boom. Damn! He boom. So I'm like, but I never got back up. I was just like, damn. Cause I thought she was shot, so I was trying to push that out the car. Yeah. Like, boom, 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 boom. I'm trying to push out cause I thought she got shot, but I was like, when I see she was like, whoa. I'm like, drive. She drives. I'm like, now I could get my out, because that's the only reason I put my because I thought it was the police, just in case they stop her. And I'm like, now I'm getting right, but I'm like, damn, what is it? She was like, they turned off. I'm like, all right, bet. I'm like, just drive. Directed to my crib. And when I was trying to get up out the car, I had pushed the rest of the window out, like, because the police was coming towards us.
This is not normal. Like, by the way, this is.
Oh God, that nigga telling this shit like it's just some everyday shit.
But I done been so many people been shot around me.
It's not confirmed who the girl who Cash was with that night, but only a few weeks later, he would find himself in the exact same situation. But unfortunately this time, he wouldn't be as lucky. In what was titled as the last video of Cash alive, he was seen having fun in a recording studio wearing a black hoodie with a green print. And then, in the early morning of the 10th of June 2022, Cash had allegedly been at a nightclub where he had gotten into an altercation with some unknown people. Then, around 5:30 a.m., Cash and the woman named Tasha West would be driving in the Auburn Gresham neighborhood, located immediately south of Inglewood. Cash was driving his Ford Edge SUV on the 1600 block of West 81st Street, while the woman was reportedly sleeping in the car at this time. Their destination possibly being Cash's home on the 8100 block of South Marshfield Avenue, which was only about a minute drive away. However, when arriving at an intersection, a black Cadillac would pull up on the car, and two unknown suspects would begin shooting at them. At this point, Cash would attempt to run from the shooters after bailing out the car, but he would eventually collapse on a grass verge next to the sidewalk beside a tree, while the shooters would then flee the scene in the Cadillac. Police and ambulances would arrive at the scene with gruesome pictures of Cash's body on the ground and being loaded into an ambulance, later going viral, with Cash notably being left laying next to that tree. Cash and the woman would be transported to the Advocate Christ Medical Center, where Cash would unfortunately be pronounced dead.
Units to 6 and Citywide, we have a shot spotter at 8059 South Marshfield, 8059 South Marshfield, 22 rounds, nothing further, zone 8 station clear.
Well-known Chicago area rapper was killed in a drive-by shooting early this morning in the Auburn Gresham neighborhood. 31-year-old Tristan Hamilton was shot multiple times. According to the Sun-Times, he raps under the name FBG Cash. A 29-year-old woman with him was also shot, taken to the hospital in serious condition. It is believed Hamilton fired back at the shooter. Police don't have anyone in custody, at least not yet. 2 years ago, another rapper close to Hamilton, known as FBG Duck, was also shot and killed.
The police incident report would later reveal that a total of 23 shell casings were found at the scene, with 14 from a rifle and 9 from a .40 caliber pistol, while the medical examiner's report would reveal that Cash had been struck in the head, neck, back, chest, and legs. Reports also indicated
They
that
shot
the
his
shooting went
ass
down in
up.
2 phases, with 18 initial rounds being fired, followed by a pause, then another 5 rounds, perhaps suggesting that the shooters wanted to ensure that Cash didn't survive and stood over him shooting to finish him off, with this detail seemingly being referenced by witnesses to the crime, as well as later lyrics that refer to the murder. Rumors would later even circulate, suggesting that Cash's killers might have even tracked him using an Apple AirTag. But following Cash's death, Chiracologists on Reddit would soon begin to react, like posting theories about his ops, such as 600 Breezy possibly dissing Cash by posting a picture of himself smoking on his Instagram story, while another commenter would say how Mimo600 had also posted a similar picture. A day or two after Cash's murder, his cousin and fellow rapper BG Lil Pat would make several posts dedicated to him, including a video of himself driving around together with the caption implying that he was going to slide for a month straight to get revenge. However, Pat would also make an alleged post and delete story where he could be seen walking in O-Block, which would immediately start theories that O-Block had been responsible for Cash's murder. About a week after Cash's death, Digital Real YouTube channel would post a vlog from O-Block where one of their members can be seen heavily dissing him, which would further boost the theories that O-Block was behind the hit.
Oh, gang only. Dummy, zip him up. Dead on the right. Straight to the wall. Ain't make the hospital. Straight to the wall. The world was supposed to have everybody twice sing everything but the wind and everything but these legends.
Yeah, but how do they?
We ain't crashed out. Oh, gang only.
Meanwhile, Buck Munna,
I was finna say, how the fuck you know he talking about that?
who
Then
the
the
younger
nigga said
generation
that.
of O-Block, would make a post on his Facebook 2 days after Cash's murder, where he can be seen flexing a stack of money in front of the King Von mural in a very similar photo to the one Cash had taken at the mural just before his death, together with a caption where he would call himself the devil, while in another picture he would be pointing gun fingers towards the ground as if standing over someone whilst killing them with a gun. This flexing raised a lot of eyebrows amongst Redditors. However, it was an Instagram video posted by an O-Block member, T-Money, which would really make fans think that Buck Munna might have been the one who killed Cash, as he had been seen in the video allegedly showing a close-up photo of a body that looks like Cash's. However, it wasn't only O-Block who were hinting at their involvement, as OTF members would also go live 2 days after Cash's death to celebrate OTF DD's birthday. But the celebration of life would seemingly soon turn into a celebration of death, as someone would reference lyrics from Dirk's song What Happened to Virgil by then asking, what happened to your mans? While OTF Varney would then reference lyrics from Dirk and Pooh Shiesty's Back in Blood song, saying how all of that woofing on the internet had got someone's friend killed, before someone else would repeatedly yell headshot, this also being the chorus of Dirk's Computer Murderers song, where Dirk would seemingly warn Cash about taking photos in front of the Von mural.
I'm gonna go fishing with my brother. They like, damn, what happened to Virgil? I'm like, damn, what happened to your mans? All that woofing on the net, it got your mans hit. Headshot. But us fruit equal a lot. Make a trailer to that. Headshot.
Moments later in the same live, the group can be heard rapping King Von's lyrics from the Back Again song, where Dirk had also seemingly dissed Cash. Varney immediately shouts Long Live V-Roy and recites Dirk's lyrics from his Aha song, saying how people can believe whatever they want, but Lil Durk got your folks hit.
Oh, folks, now long live V-Roy. Hey, boy, you talking. You can believe whatever you want. I got your folks hit. Aha.
Later in the same month, Lil Durk would release the deluxe version of his 7220 album, which would include the song Risky. In the song, Durk raps how someone would be an easy kill because they chase girls, and that standing over someone while killing them is his favorite pose, with these lyrics seemingly describing the exact way that Cash died, before also rapping how someone wouldn't die about their friend, but they'll die about a girl, which could be seen as a reference to how Cash seemingly didn't get back to Duck, but he ended up dying because he was with a girl that night, with some fans seeing this song to be Lil Durk self-snitching about getting Cash killed. Durk's song was then followed in July by the group song To The Top by O-Block members Munna Ike, Durkee, Buck Munna, and G Nook, where Buck Munna would provide a full verse of apparent hints towards Cash's murder, starting by saying how they're going to spin and spin again until they cash out, before saying that if their victim tries to run, they'll chase him down, and now he's on the news, and ending by saying how they caught someone loafing with his boo, before saying again how they're going to put him on the news. In June, rumors would circulate that Lamron members might have been responsible after an IG story was uploaded by members claiming to be smoking Cash.
Yeah, my boy.
Now we coming.
Yeah.
Smoking Cash.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Later in July, Durk would go live with Booney Mo, Dee and other OTF members, during which they would count huge stacks of cash, while a clearly intoxicated Lil Durk and other members would gleefully begin to repeat the line, "They know that we did it," which is from Booney Mo's at the time unreleased song, We Did It, that was later put on the incredibly incriminating album Loyal Bros 2.
They know that we did it.
They know that we did it. They know that we did it.
They know that we did it.
Drop song, man. We got a lot of raw shows on the Zubi, y'all.
A few minutes later, Dirk begins to rap his verse from the also at the time unreleased song Threats to Everybody, where he raps that if you play with him, you're going to end up by that tree, which many have seen to be a direct reference to Cash, whose body was indeed found laying on the grass next to that tree. For some reason, the other members would find these lyrics incredibly funny, but it was Booney Mo who would really crack them up once again, repeating the line, "They know that we did it."
You ain't have your gun for them, you better have your gun for me. Better have your gun for Booney. Better have your gun for C. You don't believe me, you gon' see. You gon' end up by that tree.
Know that we did it.
The connection to Cash wasn't lost on the fans, who would comment on the YouTube video about this live, how OTF were clearly trolling Cash. Meanwhile, Buck Munna would also go live, seemingly sometime in July, where he would rap lyrics that were clearly about FBG Cash, like saying that now that he's dead, he can't take another pic, a clear reference to Cash's picture in front of the Von mural, as well as saying how their ops are mad that an old man is in the body bag, and how the switches made him crash, and that he doesn't smoke Tuka anymore, he smokes Cash.
He dead and gone, that's what he get, man. He can't take another pic. He got hit, he took word around it was a neck. Off of that block where they don't play, I about play, I take his face. And I ain't missed cause I know they pissed, I know they mad that man up in the bag. The switches came and made him crash. I don't smoke Tuka, I smoke Cash. I'm just lying, weak, that's all that G.
Buck Munna would further raise eyebrows after a vlog circulated, seeming to show him laughing and reenacting what Cash did when he tried to run away after getting shot.
You trying to run, you know you couldn't run.
Cash's former manager would seemingly further point the finger towards O-Block as he would post himself in August dropping the O-Block hand sign, whilst unconfirmed rumours would begin to spread that Cash's murder had been picked up by the feds, just as Stefan Mack's murder would eventually be picked up in 2023, this pointing to the theory that Cash's murder had possibly also involved interstate communication and exchanges of money. Buck Munna would continue to drop lyrics that seemed to point to Cash's murder, like his November 2022 song Come Here, where he would rap about jumping out in all black, just like the shooters in Cash's case, and how the ARP had hit the victim's back, just like what happened to Cash as he tried to run from his killers. In December, Booney Mo would finally release his song We Did It that they had been rapping during that Instagram live, where besides rapping the line about how they did it, he would also rap how he pays for his shorties to go slide and kill people, a message which funnily enough was also shared by OTF Jam in his March 2023 song War with the City, with Redditors commenting how this verse had finally convinced them that Booney Mo had paid for Cash's murder. However, there has also been other theories about Cash's murder, with one of them claiming that Cash was backdoored by people close to him, particularly a man named Dale, who was an OG from Cash's hood, father of one of Cash's best friends, Fat Shorty from Jaro City, who was killed in 2021, with this backdoor theory stemming from a rumor that Cash had actually gotten Fat Shorty killed by accident during a house party argument gone wrong. This theory would end up gaining so much traction that even DJU would ask FBG Young about it, but Young would seemingly disregard these rumors as nothing more than YouTubers trying to get views.
R.I.P. Was responsible for like backdooring your brother FBG Cash.
Yeah.
So who is Big Dale? Let's start there. Or who was he to y'all?
Big Dale's one of the guys from the neighborhood.
What do you think of these rumors?
I don't think the internet. I don't listen to that.
Word.
Yeah. I don't pay that no mind though. Like that would make a good story for the internet, won't it?
It sound crazy as hell to me.
All right. It's some nice views, won't it? I mean, I don't be paying not that serious to me. I don't pay it no mind.
Since the murder, there's been endless speculation on Reddit as to exactly who might have been involved in Cash's murder, with polls even circulating that allowed members to vote on which gang they felt were most likely responsible. One Reddit post circulated names of 5 potential suspects from the OTF, TTE, and O-Block sets. One of the names listed, OTF Black, had made a post to IG days after the murder saying that if you want respect in the streets, you have to get your bodies up, and boasting how Lil Vani gave him a CEO chain when he got out of jail and told him to stand on his ops' necks, with Black responding, it's OTF forever, and he's got this, with people on Reddit commenting that this was some of the most insane self-snitching that they'd ever seen. However, OTF Black would later deny this and call out Reddit for putting bodies on him in a block-to-block interview alongside iTrap Rob and Tero.
Internet definitely put a body on you. They put one on me. Yeah? So that one blew me up. Trying to say he did. Oh, damn. Oh, damn. Where that come from? Reddit, DJU, all that.
They got you on Reddit teed up.
Another person named in that post, TTE Stain, would also be mentioned in other posts that alluded to having committed a crime in designer clothing. Another post would claim without evidence that Ty Munner was being investigated for the murder, while another pointed the finger at Lil Mike from O-Block. Numerous people would point the finger at Booney Mo from OTF, saying that he was the one who orchestrated the hit, which is interesting considering how happy he seemed about it on the live with Lil Durk. Others would point the finger at OTF Didi, with some suggesting that Durk had been pushing Didi's career as a reward after the hit. At the moment, Cash's murder still remains unsolved, and to be clear, there's no real evidence that either O-Block or OTF had anything to do with it, at least publicly. But then again, not so long ago, there was also nothing but rumors connecting Durk to the murder of Stephon Mack. Now, many people on Reddit think it's only a matter of time before they put this murder on Lil Durk too. But what we do know for certain is that Cash's murder
already just ain't said shit about it.
Murder that may end up taking down the entire OTF empire. I'm of course talking about the murder of Lil Tapp. In November 2020, after Lil Durk's best friend King Von started a fight with Savannah rapper Quando Rondo and ended up getting shot dead by his best friend Lil Tim, Quando Rondo and his entourage seemed marked for death amid rumors of $1 million bounty being placed on his head, which even Quando himself aggravated, pointing out this $1 million on his head in his song End of Story that dissed Von, where he taunted Lil Durk and told him he should increase the bounty to $8 million. The tension between Quando's crew and Lil Durk's OTF collective had reached a boiling point, and going forward, Quando needed to move cautiously and look over his shoulder everywhere he went, and it didn't take long from the death of King Von for Quando to begin to run into trouble, seemingly at the hands of his new enemies in Chicago. On November the 10th, 2020, reports surfaced that Quando Rondo had cancelled an upcoming show, with rumors that Lil Durk had bought all the tickets, leaving the venue empty, a move reminiscent of 50 Cent's infamous tactic during his beef with Ja Rule. Now, this may well have been a publicity stunt and not actually what happened, but following this and the potential threats against him, Quando would be seen cancelling numerous scheduled performances over the next several months. But his absence from the stage would only last until May the 1st, 2021, when he performed in Waycross, Georgia. However, the crowd at the show was very small, perhaps saying something about how his career was going at this point, or fans were aware of the danger surrounding him.
I ain't gonna lie, man, my show was really, you feel me, deeper than this, but I know I got a lot of shit going on, you feel me, but I still appreciate everybody who came out. I'm gonna wear this like it's 10,000 people in here. Come on, shit.
Because after leaving the venue, Quando and his entourage would be targeted in an apparent assassination attempt at a Circle K gas station, where over 100 shots would be fired at their vehicles, though luckily, Quando would escape unscathed. Notably, this incident took place at a gas station, something that was apparently becoming a pattern for Lil Durk's enemies. I mentioned the song Who Wants Smoke, where Lil Durk rapped about people dying pumping gas. It's highly possible that this might have been a reference to Quando and the attempt on his life, as well as the people that were allegedly killed in revenge for D-Thang's murder. The tension between OTF and NBA, the label that Quando was signed to under his mentor Youngboy, would once again escalate in January 2022 when NBA Youngboy released his song Bring the Hook, a direct diss aimed at Lil Durk, OTF, and O-Block. The track included inflammatory lines like Youngboy rapping how he's rolling an O-Block pack, a clear reference to Von's death, before also directly referring to him getting killed down in Atlanta. The song's disrespectful tone would leave the fans anticipating Durk's response, which would ultimately come in the form of the track Aha, released on February 22nd, 2022. As we've already discussed this song in the context of Lil Durk allegedly avenging his brother D-Thang, the song would also be a veiled diss towards Quando Rondo 2, hinting towards being behind his recent shooting, as well as foreshadowing future attempts on his life. Durk would rap the now prophetic bar that his ops are dropping locations and he's getting the job done, and that OTF is not about to do any tweeting because they're sliding, and because of that, the feds are coming. Durk would also hint at Von's romantic entanglements with Youngboy's baby mother, Jania Michelle, rapping how Von was messing with Youngboy's girl and how Youngboy and his artists are all Von's sons, before mentioning how he warned Von about staying away from women who exploit their looks and doing S-work online, this likely being a diss towards Jania, who had been seemingly posting this kind of content at the time. Some of the lyrics in Aha would also hint that Durk may have already slid for someone, though without finding his intended target, as he would criticize his ops for hiding behind social media, reinforcing this sentiment by describing how deserted the areas he had targeted had become, implying that his rivals were now nowhere to be found. After the song's release, the rap world would brace for Youngboy's response, which came only hours later in the form of the track I Hate Youngboy. Youngboy would mock King Von's death with the line Clean Up on Aisle O, Young and Let That Chopper Blow, referencing how Lil Tim shot Von. He would also target Durk's fiancée, India Royale, rapping how Durk had called him a but that description fit better to her. Youngboy would even shout out one of O-Block's biggest enemies, Wooski, by rapping how he was bumping Wooski's song at his home, the song in question likely being Wooski's infamous diss song, The Computers Remix. Now, Youngboy's highly disrespectful track would leave fans and industry insiders on edge, worried about how this already volatile feud might escalate, and at this point, even the podcasters were warning Durk not to escalate things. On March the 10th, 2022, Durk would appear on leading hip-hop podcast $1 Million Worth of Game with street veteran hosts Gilly and Wallow. In the episode, Wallow would warn Durk and his friends not to crash out on their incredible incredible career opportunities of chasing revenge in the streets. Firstly, getting emotional, keeping it real with the room, and telling the OTF members that some of them might not be alive next year or even next week.
Listen, we gonna be real, man. I gotta say this, because some of y'all in this room, y'all might not see next year. Y'all might not see next week. And niggas ain't saying that to y'all, because a lot of y'all niggas ain't got no fathers or none of that. So my position is here and here or some shit.
Gilly would go on to speak prophetically, reminding Dirk how happy he was after his father came home from his 27-year sentence because he had missed him so much, and warning him not to do the same to his own children.
He happy a grown man, and he happy that his dad back. Grown, he's like, damn, because he missed that shit. And I know a lot of that gave y'all game, they gave y'all game that was beneficial to them and it wasn't beneficial to y'all, and it put y'all in a fucked up position in life. Because we gotta get it right so we can take care of these babies. The OGs, when they see you, you know what they...
A lot of niggas will give you game that can help them. Send you to do some shit for, you know what I'm saying? But you think you... Yeah, but it's really not what you're thinking.
Say, you rhyme just like your daddy. Your daddy homies is not in position to just out here living off of memories. When them niggas see you, they can't give you no game. Because they on drugs or they ain't in position. So they'll just tell you some shit. You just like your daddy. And the sad thing is you just like your daddy. You ain't never get a chance to get another life, man. There's a real world that's waiting for y'all. And I'm telling you, man, these babies and these women, they depending on y'all.
Wallow would warn Dirk and his friends to think beyond their neighborhood and make the most of the opportunity they had.
And that's why every time y'all go out with him on tour or go somewhere, take advantage of what you're seeing, man. That exposure would change your mind.
Wallow would then seemingly allude to the death of Von, D-Thang, and other people close to Dirk, telling Dirk he also has over 30 friends that he's lost to the streets, including his brother, but he didn't throw his life away so that he could be around to support their families.
I can name 20, 30 of my homies is dead. I'm here though, and I'm gonna say some shit that, like, this is documented. My brother died in my grandma's arms, but I had to let that shit go. When I let that shit go, I started to grow. And I started to glow. And now I'm here today, and it was harder than a motherfucker, man. Take care of my mama and my grandmama.
Talk to him. Show.
Because I forgave my brother killer, but you know, I understand. I understand what y'all going through. But I love all you young here. And I mean that.
Quite frankly, Dirk seemed unmoved by Wallow's emotional speech, and after, he seemed like he didn't quite know what to do, just calling the show crazy.
It's so crazy. Yeah, this really dropping tears for this like. For real, like.
It would then be Gilly's turn to play prophet, as he remembers Wallow telling him about seeing defeated men in jail after losing their murder cases and realizing they'd thrown their whole lives away.
They be done. Them just all of life done left them. Them come from that courtroom. Them done got that 111 years. Be done, cuz.
Yeah, nigga stomach in his ass.
Right, man. You know, like you gonna open a lot of lives up, man. You give my hope when you make it.
However, noticeably, this interview was conducted surrounded by goons, seemingly an homage to King Von's infamous video where he brought wads of cash back to his hood in O-Block, cash that was later rumored to have been money that wound up being the bounty on FBG Duck's head. In this interview, Lil Durk took things a step further, bringing $1 million cash to $1 million worth of game, and laying out an entire $1 million in bills out on the table throughout the interview.
He came to $1 million worth of game with $1 million. With $1 million, man.
Listen, man, it's going down.
Count it.
No, we ain't got time for that. That'll be a whole nother show. You know what I mean?
This was an intimidating show of force, and to me, it was a coded message to Quando Rondo that hinted towards the $1 million that had been placed on his head and the goons surrounding Dirk who would get the job done, just like Von had. And to top it all off, an iced out D-Thang piece would sit on top of the money, making it very clear what Lil Durk's ambitions were. Funnily enough, elsewhere in the interview, Lil Durk would introduce some of the people who would later be charged with him in the murder for hire case, including OTF DD, who Dirk gleefully introduced as Big Threat, causing ruckus in the room, as well as TTE 44 and TTE KK.
You know what, OTF DD and this man, I'm coming out soon for sure.
Threat.
The threat. Big threat.
Threat.
I don't know what the f going on every day turkey season around this.
That shit crazy, bro.
TTE 44, man, all Tay-Town, man, band gang, who they gang?
TTE KK and dumb gang, dumb.
Dummy. Dumb.
KK even did a little freestyle, saying that he'll shoot up the block, with Dirk unable to contain himself, blurting out facts after he said it.
Time to get suited up, we spin your block, we shoot it up. Don't get no we doing all this talking, this ain't new to us.
Clearly, despite the OG advice, revenge was still very much on Dirk's mind as 2022 went on, and it seemed that those who had been close to Von were plotting on infiltrating Quando's feuds in his native Savannah too. In May 2022, O-Block members are suspiciously seen on IG Live with Quando Rondo's main enemy from Savannah, the Section 8 kids, specifically Gutter. Entering summer, it was clear that Dirk and Von's friends were still plotting on Rondo and wanted the whole world to know it. By June 2022, Dirk continued the back and forth with his feature on Boston Richie's track Keep Dissing 2, where he rapped how he's trying to tell someone, without saying too much, that they're trying to kill him, another clear shot at the people behind Von's death, whilst also painting a menacing picture about him and Von, saying how Von has bodies and that he's a demon child, so Dirk is brothers to a devil. Dirk might not have realized just how deep these lyrics were at the time, but he was indeed deeply invested in avenging his evil twin's life, and it would seem that only within months of saying on the song how he was trying to nail his enemy, soon he would get the call and find out the location of the very man King Von was trying to fight with the night he lost his life. And seemingly, exactly like FBG Duck, Quando and his entourage would be the subject of a broad daylight assassination attempt, but the only thing that was different is that this time it took place in California. From what we know at the time, on August the 18th, 2022, Quando Rondo and his close associate and cousin Lil Pab were in Los Angeles, California. Unbeknownst to them, their location was leaked to members of Lil Durk's OTF collective by an unnamed co-conspirator known only at this stage as Number 4. According to the indictment, on August the 18th, 2022, Dirk and a member of his OTF collective named Vonnie would fly from Miami to Los Angeles on a private jet to coordinate the murder. Upon arrival, Lil Durk would instruct OTF Boogie to travel to Southern California, whilst OTF DD recruited 2 more shooters named Flocker and Brown Eyes to join the plot, providing their biographical information so that flights could be booked under their names. Lil Durk would apparently even text a warning not to book any flights under names directly linked to him, but this was either ignored or sent too late, as an OTF-linked credit card would indeed be used to...
I'm thinking, bro, like, if this Dirk that's telling them don't use his name, I don't know, bro.
Purchase flights for Dee Dee, Flucker, Brown Eyes Boogie, and another co-conspirator to travel from Chicago to San Diego on August the 18th. OTF Boogie and others confirmed their travel plans through text messages, including one message from OTF Dee Dee to someone on Instagram stating, "On my way to LA." Upon their arrival in Southern California, the group traveled by car to meet OTF Vonnie in Los Angeles. Vonnie would then purchase 4 black ski masks in cash and use another OTF credit card to rent a hotel room at the Universal City Hotel for the group. At this meeting, Vonnie supplied the team with firearms, including fully automatic weapons, and secured 2 cars for their use.
Nigga went to the store, got ski masks, all this shit on camera, got cars.
Rondo's movements throughout Los Angeles, including to a hotel in downtown Los Angeles where he was staying, and the next day, on August the 19th, 2022, the group would follow Quando's black Escalade to several locations, including a dispensary on Flower Street and a clothing store on Melrose Avenue. They would track the Escalade to a gas station on Beverly Boulevard, where OTF Boogie drove the Infinity into an alley behind the station and parked up. Lil Pab and Quando were sitting in the back of a parked tinted black Cadillac Escalade getting some gas on 8489 Beverly Boulevard. As the car was filling up with fuel, just mere seconds later, a flurry of shots would ring out, targeting any and everyone around that car, with law enforcement recovering 18 shell casings on the scene.
It all started at this mobile gas station at 5:30 Friday evening. LAPD says witnesses heard multiple gunshots, then watched a couple cars zoom off. 3 people in one car shot at this black Cadillac Escalade. It's unclear if those inside shot back.
Can I get some space, please?
It ended at Santa Monica Boulevard. Deputies found it peppered with bullet holes and a shattered window. One man inside, a member of Rondo's entourage, had been shot. The 23-year-old was taken to the hospital where he died.
The shooting itself took place just before 5:30 p.m. at a mobile gas station near the popular Los Angeles tourist destination, the Beverly Center. According to police, 3 masked gunmen got out of the white car in dark clothing, with the later indictment identifying Flacker, Brown Eyes, and an unnamed shooter opening fire on Quando's car using firearms provided by Vonnie, including a fully automatic weapon. These gunshots would ultimately hit Lil Pab, who was standing next to Quando's car pumping gas at this point. The attack was described as a professional hit occurring without any prior argument or confrontation, and after the shooting, the attackers fled the scene in the Infinity that was being driven by Boogie. After being shot at, Quando's entourage jumped back in the car and attempted to flee, driving a short distance before pulling over to seek medical attention for Lil Pab. And despite efforts to save him, Pab would unfortunately succumb to his injuries and pass away. But to make matters worse, the dramatic scene was captured by bystanders, with footage of Quando breaking down emotionally and screaming no as Pab was taken from the vehicle, with this tragic scene being recorded and broadcast on the news where it ultimately went viral. While Quando was screaming over Pab's dead body, the shooters were celebrating and negotiating their payment.
That shit
since
crazy,
they didn't actually kill Quando, the intended target. Later that day, the group, including Vonnie, Dee Dee, Flucker, Brown Eyes, Boogie, and the co-conspirator, would gather at an In-N-Out restaurant to discuss the attack and the payments for the shooters. Once again, using an OTF credit card, flights were booked for the group to return to Chicago from San Diego.
They don't give a fuck who they. Man,
After this,
they don't give a
other
fuck
OTF
about
members would
nobody
post on social
around,
media,
who they hear, what they hear.
responsibility for the
They
murder,
want
with
niggas
one post
gone.
revealing that Tapp died of a headshot seemingly before the news even reported it, and another OTF affiliate, Lil Vani, tagging Quando and making fun of Tapp's death on Instagram. Meanwhile, following the murder of Lil Tapp, Quando Rondo announced that he was dropping his affiliation with the Rolling 60s Crips, signaling his intention to step away from gang life. He declared on social media that he was laying down his neighborhood Crip flag and that he wanted to focus on his family and loved ones rather than gangbanging. However, the move was met with backlash from other Crip members, some of whom criticized his departure as a sign of weakness. But despite the criticism, Quando stood by his decision, emphasizing that he no longer wanted to be involved in the gang conflicts that had claimed the life of his close friend Lil Tapp. But while Quando was attempting to lie low and remove himself from the gangs and conflicts that had claimed the life of his friend back on Dirk's side, having now apparently avenged King Von's death, even with the murder of an innocent affiliate who was just there with Quando, it would seem that Dirk and his OTF shooters at this point felt completely untouchable. And after enduring years of slide for Von comments, this apparent get back would be too much for Dirk not to mock or comment on. Despite what's now being referred to as an incredibly sloppy and reckless hit with a paper trail that's completely unheard of, from here, over the next 2 years, Lil Durk and his OTF affiliates would go on what I can only describe as a self-snitching extravaganza, releasing song after song and full-blown projects, seemingly claiming responsibility for this murder and boasting about exactly what had gone down that day. As with other murders, Lil Tapp's murder would be the subject of many disses, with an OTF group mixtape titled Loyal Bros 2 being released on the 16th of December 2022, just 4 months after the murder of Lil Tapp. But beyond the title, the project itself is wall-to-wall with incriminating lyrics that not only hint towards Dirk's involvement, but track by track paints a vivid picture of exactly how the events unfolded, with Dirk and his collaborators making countless references to the crime and its specific details, openly claiming responsibility for the whole thing. On the opening track titled Set It Off, Dirk makes an interesting comment, seemingly suggesting that he recruits killers for his business, and recounts conversations with members telling him they don't want to kill people, so Dirk instead sets them up with different roles in the business, like running real estate. In other lines, Dirk makes ambiguous references to his ops getting caught slipping, and in the hook, he raps about giving his friends guns and asking them to shoot for him. In verse 2, he drops a bar saying one of his ops couldn't read his last DM because he was killed, something that some people have suggested is a reference to the murder of FBG Cash. But this is followed by another ambiguous bar where Dirk says that he told his shooters to spin every block until the target is dead, and that somebody was due to be killed next, but he couldn't get to them, with some suggesting that this was in fact a reference to King Von's actual killer, Lil Tim, who was arrested in October 2022. The suggestion being that Dirk's next murder for hire would have been Tim, but since he was in jail, they couldn't get to him. Then, on the second track, titled Mad Max featuring Future, in a bizarre display, Future seemingly opens his verse with a series of lines that again eerily mirror the exact details of Lil Durk's case, with Future rapping his lil bro, presumably Dirk, drops bags and gets people killed and has people shot through the windows of their cars, and referencing that people get money put on their heads for messing with Dirk. And Future even ends his verse with a jaw-dropping bit of foreshadowing, saying ain't no Rico case gonna stop another body dropping, before asking how many bodies they have. The hook of the song would see Dirk and Future likening their shooters running up on people and killing them to be similar to the movie Mad Max. And then in Dirk's verse, he would go on an absolute rampage of self-snitching, boldly saying that he told Young Thug everybody that he'd shot, and hinting that he could have been part of that Rico case that Thug caught if the feds were recording what he said. Dirk then seemingly references the murder of Quando's cousin Lil Tapp, despite him actually not being involved in the death of Von, saying that when it's war, you don't see famous names being killed, but they still try and kill everyone around their targets. Dirk then references the rumors that he was involved in the Tapp murder, saying that he doesn't admit to crimes, but the blogs seem to accuse him as soon as people die, and saying that he would never admit to murder and is happy that other people are claiming that body, a line which I think refers to an alternative narrative that was spread around, suggesting that Lil Tapp was actually killed by drug dealers that he ran off on. Of course, when the indictment dropped, it seemed pretty clear that that was cap. Dirk would then go on to directly deny blackballing Quando Rondo from the record industry and casting doubt on his criminal past, before Dirk says that he is the person who chooses if people live or get killed. He later appears to reference 2 details from the murder of Lil Tapp, saying the switch is bound to kill their ops.
So this is what they using against that nigga?
Committed numerous
all
murders,
his lyrics,
saying the chilling and self-incriminating line, "We're flying to get you." Now, perhaps this could be interpreted as saying that he would fly to collect Max from jail if he was ever released, but to me, I think it's a different bar, where Dirk is just mentioning one of his killers and then moving on to another line where he's self-incriminating himself, admitting that he will fly his shooters out to kill you, just like he did to Lil Tapp. This is followed by another dark line where Dirk says, "You ain't know we were gonna get you, did you?" On the next track, Hanging with Wolves, Dirk would make some interesting references to his life in this time. In one bar, he claims that he was out of town and heard a rumor that he was wanted for murder, pretty much speaking what ended up happening into existence. Dirk went on to make references to Youngboy, whose original beef with King Von kicked off this whole thing, with Quando actually being one of Youngboy's artists signed to his label, and Dirk would refer to earlier comments suggesting that Youngboy had told the world that they were beefing and that he tried to squash the war. Then, at the end of his second verse, he drops another insane piece of foreshadowing, saying that he's the type of person to get on a flight with a warrant and that the police have got to catch him, something that he indeed tried to do. On a later track called For Real that features OTF member Booney Mo, he would reveal that he sells drugs to make money while his friends do the murders. In a later lyric, he outright says that his friends kill the ops and says that they get paid $10,000 to spin, and saying specifically that they get $20,000 if they kill one of the target's friends, and ending the song saying all his friends kill people for real if you play with them. A later track that featured Booker 600 and Lil Durk had a peculiar title, Feed 'em Addies. Now this title is a slick double entendre referring to giving their killers both Adderalls to focus on the murders that they've been tasked to do, and giving them the addresses or addies of their rivals to find them and kill them, something made explicit by the lyrics. And Booker goes on to rap that somebody's head got left on the wall for King Von. Then in Durk's verse, he would boast about having $50 million liquid and going on to rap an eyebrow-raising bar saying that he smashed somebody's nose and that in his hood he's Pablo. Likely a reference to Pablo Escobar, but knowing Durk's lyrical abilities, it wouldn't surprise me if this was another coded reference to Lil Pab, whose nickname was also Pablo. He then goes on to drop a series of bars that sound to me like they're directly referencing Lil Pab's murder, saying that he doesn't speak on murders or people trolling, and seemingly referencing Quando's relationship being signed to Youngboy's label, saying why you signed to the dudes that purged it. Then rapping the brutal lyric referring to the murder of Pab and Quando's reaction being broadcast on the news, saying when I seen he died, I kept scrolling, and admitting that he's into beef with someone's friend, another reference to Youngboy and Quando's relationship. The next track is seemingly another bold admission of the OTF crew's activities in the streets, the aptly titled track We Did It. This sees Booney Mo from OTF rapping back to back with a posthumous verse and ad-libs from none other than King Von, whose death sparked this deadly crime spree. The song featured a brazen chorus which saw Booney Mo rapping repeatedly, "They know that we did it," whilst backed up by King Von ad-libs. What did you guys do, Booney? Booney would then repeat the line, this time following the line about having diamonds on his chain, saying that they know we winning, with that line about winning followed by another King Von ad-lib saying they know. He goes on to rap, you know how we're spinning, and naming what guns they use, and saying if they catch an op, you know we're gonna get them. And he would end the hook saying that now they're smoking on their ops. In the verse, he mentions OTF DD or D-Ski locating ops for the gang and chasing ops in rental cars, which according to the indictment happened. And he would even end his verse with a buffet of self-incrimination, rapping that he pays and that he bets they're going to get you. Following that up, saying OTF, that's mob ties, ain't nothing realer. The second verse was a posthumous King Von verse, where in the final line, as Von has done countless times before, admitting to murder, saying that he ducked that sentence, but they know I did it. Now, I'm sure people might argue that this is an ambiguous song which could be referring to absolutely anything, but to me, the fact that this project and song dropped just 4 months after the supposed murder that was Get Back for King Von, combining this song with the King Von ad-libs and a posthumous verse from Von, and repeatedly using the brazen line, you know that we did it, to me, makes me think that the very purpose of this song was indeed to covertly confirm to the whole world that OTF did indeed kill Pab for Von so that they could brag about it. The next track would feature OTF DD, or D-Ski, which you'll likely know is one of the members who was central to the alleged murder for hire plot and is all over that indictment. And on the track Seen It All, DD would commence with another incredibly self-incriminating verse, rapping that his team do hits regardless, and rapping that they're going to risk it all and put their ops in coffins for their friends, rapping that they stalk their ops in traffic, something alleged in the indictment with photographic evidence, and saying that they leave their ops on stretchers. And in his verse, continuing the self-snitching, rapping that they bully their ops with switches and shoot the fastest, and rapping how they don't give their enemies passes, they walk them down or kill them. Even admitting that his friends stood on business or got vengeance, and he raps they're coming to get you, and that their bullets will leave you dead in public. And I don't know if it gets more public than outside the Beverly Center. But then on the next track, Ain't Hidin', OTF's Chief Wook would continue to rap bars that seem to hint at OTF's deadly activities in the streets, saying that their lil bros hop out of cars and chase people and give their ops facelifts. Next on the project is the song Savage Stuff, where OTF frontliner Doody Low would continue to openly tell the world about his gang's murders, saying that he's with the real killers who up the murder rate. A later track with the very ironic title Block Is Hot would see Durk and DD going back and forth together on the same song, and Durk would start his verse with more jaw-dropping lyrics, rapping that his shorties hop out of cars, shoot people 4 times, and send them to the morgue. Durk would then go on to snitch on himself to an alarming degree, rapping that he's got money on people's heads and that he tells his people to grab the cars and shoot them. He would then reference an apparent attempt by Quando Rondo calling for peace in leaked DMs that circulated online, rapping that they were scared and wanted peace, but Durk rejected it. And Durk would go on to rap that if they can't catch who they want when they ride past, then they'll get his friend. Like likely another reference to Lil Papp. Dirk would then go on to boast that he could be outside by himself, but no one would have a chance to get him, and that he rolls with OTF DD when it comes to the war on the block. And Dirk ends his verse with haunting bars where he says that he's the reason that you got shot and that his music is what you hear when you die. Then in verse 2, DD would jump on the mic and raps lyrics which quite frankly are a prosecutor's wet dream, rapping that he's a threat, warning his ops not to get caught lacking, or that he will leave you like the last person he caught. Then going on to rap how did his ops die, and answering that the bullets ate his face and left him dead on arrival. DD would rap that knowing how to die is the only thing that his ops can beat them at, and at the end of the verse, in a line that will probably come back to haunt him, rapping that his friends face murders and beat the state charges. Unfortunately, with songs like this out, it's incredibly hard to imagine DD beating the state on these charges. Now the following song will be titled Thug Life and features OTF veterans Chief Wook and Doody Low, along with some very interesting lyrics, with a line in the second verse that said, "Your cousin with you, you claiming he innocent, he's still getting shot," which sounds to me like it could be a direct reference to Lil Papp, who is indeed Quando's cousin, although at the time of the murder, many people reported that he was simply Quando's friend. The next track takes the irony to a whole new level, a song titled Federal Freestyle, featuring none other than OTF Jam, OTF's suspected resident informant. Now there's nothing super incriminating in this song, but these lyrics and OTF Jam's backstory as the alleged informant is something I'll be breaking down in greater detail another time. But later on the project, Dirk drops perhaps the single most incriminating song on the entire project, a track titled Threats to Everybody. Dirk opens the song saying that by spending money, he can have new killers who you have never seen before come outside, rapping that he puts belts to his ops and that he has his killers shoot so much that their fingers hurt. He references both OTF Jam and OTF DD, saying that he bought them both the same gun. And then, in another absolutely incredible display of detailed self-snitching, Dirk references shootings at gas stations, suggesting that his ops want to avoid stopping to refuel, and later saying that if he finds out his ops are outside, he wants his shooters to pull up on them curbside. This actually ended up being the song that included the bold lyric about leaving FBG Cash dead by the tree, and Dirk would end the song saying that they should have killed him sooner. On the next track, titled Who Are You, Doody Low would reference King Von, saying that he has killers that will murder in exchange for a recorded rap verse, which could refer to Doody or Dirk himself, which ironically matches up with the accusation in the indictment that OTF members were actually encouraged to kill in exchange for support in their rap careers. Before Doody goes on to say that they killed someone and put them in the dirt, and that King Von will indeed get you killed. Now a lot of people will argue that these lyrics don't prove anything, that these could all be generic references to the street life, but I do not buy it. People often argue that rap lyrics shouldn't be used as evidence in court, often citing Bob Marley's I Shot the Sheriff, but no sheriffs got murdered on camera, and the sheriff's deputy was not on the news screaming no. To me, this project was a bold declaration by Lil Durk and the wider OTF to take credit for these heinous and public crimes. This was the first project released since the murder of Lil Papp, the apparent revenge attack for Von's murder. How many times had Durk been baited in comments with people saying slide for Von? Well, it seemed that he'd finally done it, and OTF quite literally used this whole album, the songs and lyrics, to tell the world we did it. To me, Loyal Bros 2 might well go down as one of the most incriminating rap projects in music history, and it really just goes to show you just how inexplicably stupid some of these gangster rappers can be when it comes to admitting crimes in their music. I'm genuinely baffled as to why the people involved in this alleged crime, specifically Lil Durk and OTF DD, would be so reckless as to release a project with such specific details about these crimes that they allegedly really did.
Wow, free Mac, we flying to get
cars, flying shooters out, scrolling past the news about your murdered enemies being on the news, and quite literally saying we did it is mind-boggling. But this wasn't the end. In fact, it was only the beginning, and as time went on, Durk and the OTF crew would continue to self-incriminate and openly rap chilling details that would connect them to this crime. As I said at the start, this is only the tip of the iceberg when it comes to the insane depths of the self-incrimination that Durk and his OTF crew did. After Loyal Bros 2, perhaps the single most self-incriminating lyric would come in the form of a feature that Durk dropped on the song Wonderful Wayne and Jackie Boy off of Babyface Ray's album MOB that dropped on December the 2nd, 2022. And in his feature, Lil Durk would rap the jaw-dropping lines, got location, go, go, green light, go, 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 look on the news and see your son screaming no, no. Screaming no is obviously a direct and incredibly incriminating diss towards Quando Rondo, as it directly refers to that famous clip of him outside the class screaming no, looking at the body of his cousin that had just been shot. And Durk didn't stop there, because all of that was capped off with one final lyric referencing the fact that an innocent Papp was the one killed, with Durk saying, and all them people hanging with him, if you know, you know. This was a bold message and didn't go unnoticed by prosecutors who would eventually include these specific lyrics in the indictment indictment against Durk, although Durk's lawyers would later claim that the song had in fact been recorded already in January 2022, many months before the hit, the name of the song at the time being Toxic. But at least for the moment, this evidence seems pretty questionable at best, based on just a screenshot of a random file. In my personal opinion, I think this could well be a complete lie, using metadata from before the crime to make it seem as if these lyrics were a coincidence. The fact is, these lyrics were released after the Lil Pap murder and describe the circumstances of it with chilling accuracy. And showing a screenshot of the day that the song's file was created doesn't cancel the fact that Durk chose to release this song quite literally months after the murder, describing it perfectly. Durk's apparent role as the orchestrator for the Get Back for Von was an open secret in the rap game at this point. In fact, rapper, podcaster, and friend of Durk's, Brick Baby, would confirm that Durk had slid for Von during a No Jumper interview.
Now, you wanna know something crazy, bro? I didn't never notice Brick Baby in Durk videos, bro, until he got locked up. Then I started like watching shit. I started seeing that nigga in a lot of videos and shit. They was close for real.
It's like, oh, they did something. Oh, slide for him. Oh, you a bitch. Oh, yeah.
Slide for Von, right? Yeah.
They say you can't say that no more.
Why? Oh, yeah, because of... Wait, no. Like,
They
who died?
say you can't say that no more.
Oh, because of FBG Cash? Or who?
Nah, because Lil Pop.
Oh, what's that?
But I'm just saying, they just say you can't say that no more.
And as time went on, Durk and the OTF crew would continue to self-incriminate and openly rap chilling details that would connect them to the crime. On the 23rd of May 2023, Durk would release a podcast interview with DJ Academics on his Spotify-powered Off The Record podcast, later uploaded to YouTube under the title Lil Durk, Realest Interview Ever. And in it, Durk would seemingly hint towards having avenged King Von, saying for some reason, people have stopped commenting Slide for Von, with the exchange with Academics being nothing short of creepy.
I feel like you know how to pick with people.
It was, bro. This shit was like an eerie ass interview.
He's like, like he's clearly making fun of you. You like
I ain't gonna lie, like I be dead serious, like that's why I try not to do too much. I be dead serious, and it's like the people around me is even worse than me. So it's like that's why I said the situation. I was like, I'll be the one to be like, man, I'm gonna take a picture of Soulja Boy and be funny. If I want that type of guy, it would have been like, then they would have whooped his, like, you know what I'm saying? All right, like I don't take that man serious. The man did not do nothing wrong. The man friends did. Quan got his whooped. He was there.
You didn't get beat up.
Huh? Pull up on.
Oh yeah. You get triggered by the
beat the shit out of this little ass, man. What
you get triggered by the Slide for Von comments. They used to say, but you also mentioned a song. They be like, they be saying Slide for Von. I think they trolling me. Yo, by the way, them songs is fire. I ain't gonna lie.
For some reason, I just don't see the comments no more. For some odd reason, I don't know. Might be the water. You be seeing them comments a lot.
They kind of chilled out a little bit.
I wonder why. Yeah, though. Different in the rack.
I feel like you're speaking in parables. I'm trying to like decode it a little bit, but it's.
We have nothing to do with nothing. I'm saying that's like me just claiming something I want to.
I feel like you was troll right there. No,
I never troll him. He got beat up too bad. He got to do that.
So you're not condoning more violence continuing.
For what? Everybody you telling me about don't matter.
See, I feel like. I can't tell if you have a good poker face. All right, man.
Elsewhere in the interview, Durk brushed off Quando Rondo and Lil Tim, saying that all the real gangsters were hurt by the fact that, in his words, King Von was killed by a nerd.
Von put the Floyd Mayweather on the motherfucker, and that happened. Everybody else, like when a real gangster, you know what I mean? When a real gangster get took out by like a nerd type.
This interview would pretty much be the biggest promo piece in anticipation of Durk's 8th studio album, Almost Healed, released on the 26th of May 2023.
Which might have meant he was almost healed because he almost killed everybody he wanted to.
That depicted Durk crying blood with a bandage covering his face, this seemingly being a reference to his mindset at the time, declaring that he had almost healed from the many traumas he'd suffered. Almost, but not quite. Now, I'd offer a darker interpretation, as Durk actually suggesting that he's almost fulfilled his needs to seek revenge for those he'd lost, but perhaps hinting that he was still dangerous and not done. The opening track of Almost Healed, titled Therapy Session, would set a reflective tone for the album. It featured a skit with Alicia Keys acting as a therapist for Lil Durk, which immediately emphasized the themes of vulnerability and self-reflection that ran throughout the project. Alicia Keys addresses Durk's traumatic past, directly mentioning the loss of King Von in November 2020 and his brother D-Thang in June 2021. Keys would ask how Durk feels about the rap beef, being a warrior, a leader in the rap industry, and the voice in the community, essentially setting up the themes of the album and Durk's plans to rap candidly about these topics, saying, "You can feel safe in this room to express your vulnerabilities and emotions. The next track, Pellicoat, would appear to hint towards Dirk's status as a threat, striking fear into his enemies. Dirk would open with the line, "They scared to come outside," which became a recurring refrain throughout the song, a lyric which was actually a nod to the chorus of Mo3's hit song Outside. Dirk would then drop an ironic line, which if I'm completely honest, I think is aimed at literally me, rapping how YouTubers are trying to paint a picture of him, but warning that it doesn't last. Now, having made a series of videos about Dirk's life and his past at this point, not to mention the countless other channels who at this point had long been speculating on Dirk's role in these recent murders, clearly Dirk was frustrated with the new media, having picked up some of the clues that he was leaving behind after committing crimes. But this was nothing new. Dirk had dissed us YouTube documentary makers before, rapping on the song Golden Child that the feds are only able to crack these cases with the help of YouTube videos, which at the time people believed was aimed at academics and me. Anyway, back to Pellicoat, and after dissing YouTubers for misportraying him, Dirk appears to go on to say that he's silent about violence, but is glad that someone is no longer here, simultaneously saying he doesn't tell on himself, but then alluding to having gotten rid of people. Later in the track, he would also touch on snitching's prevalence in the streets, mentioning that even killers with numerous bodies to their names can still turn into snitches. Later, Dirk raps that he never posts guns used in crimes on his social media because he knows the authorities are watching, and later, pretty much openly saying that he got back and got his revenge. And then, in a line that appeared to respond to 6ix9ine and the Slide for Von slogan, rapping that 6ix9ine and others had told Dirk to slide and that he wouldn't do it purely for fame. Dirk would in the third verse directly reference Quando Rondo, saying that Von died because he beat up a Goofy and that the drama had nothing to do with Von's relationship with Asian Doll. Dirk would end the track on a somber note, saying that every morning he plays to Allah for forgiveness for the things that he had done. Interestingly, Islam had become a big part of Dirk's life by this point. On the track Mad Max, Dirk even references praying on the phone with an imam. Seemingly influenced by his Muslim father after his release from jail, Dirk would begin to take religion more seriously and build it into his brand, even changing his name legally from Dirk Banks to Mustafa Abdul Malak, potentially in hopes of distancing himself from his old self, Dirk Banks, the given name that would ultimately end up on the indictment. The third track on Almost Healed was the smash hit All My Life with J. Cole. The song was an effort by Dirk to clean up his image and spread an inspirational message to the youth, with bars where Dirk bragged about having made it out the streets, rubbing shoulders with the mayor and politicians, and saying that you can't judge his past anymore. And the choir-assisted hook was an inspirational anthem that could resonate with the whole world, as Dirk raps how his whole life, people have tried to keep him down, but they could never break his spirit. The hook was infectious and it had hit song written all over it. All My Life would hit #2 on the Billboard charts, matching his earlier hit with Drake as his top charting track, as well as being an international hit too, landing on charts in 18 different countries. It was an industry favorite as well, winning the 2024 Grammy for Best Melodic Rap Performance.
And the Grammy goes to All My Life, Lil Durk featuring J. Cole.
Please welcome to the stage Lil Durk, who is the Grammy winner for All My Life, Best Melodic Rap Performance.
Appreciate y'all.
Hey, Lil Durk, congratulations on your award. I just want to know, are the prices going up now that you have your Grammy?
I ain't even checked my phone yet. I know it is.
All My Life was a humongous hit, but if you ask me, there was something quite dark going on in J. Cole's verse, as J. Cole drops a number of bars and metaphors that when you look back at them now appear to coincidentally echo Lil Durk's Future perfectly. Just like how Future had seemingly rapped things that described the
this shit
crimes that he was
crazy.
allegedly involved in before.
It's like, is he telling these niggas this story and then doing the song with him?
Where he raps that his lyrics are so good that they're a cheat code, and he then likens putting out hit records to paying for hits on people, saying that he puts out so many hits that he could be facing RICO charges, topping it off with the lines, and another one, and another one. Now normally you might chalk this up to coincidence, but then again this is J. Cole, whose lyrical ability is much higher than your average drill rapper. And it really wouldn't surprise me if J. Cole felt daring enough to slip in a little double entendre like this to hint to the world that he knew what Dirk was getting up to away from the microphone, and using this line to paint a picture of Dirk and J. Cole's contrasting verses and lifestyles, which is really the deeper meaning of the song. On the next track, Never Again, Dirk just jumps straight out the window with the self-snitching again, rapping on his second verse that he sends shots when he comes to the city, but he shoots with his money, and that Big Threat or OTFDD is going to protect him. Track 5, Put 'Em on Ice, had a title seemingly alluding to murder and a menacing hook where he repeats that he told him ain't nobody safe. Track 6, Big Dog with Chief Wook, would see Dirk saying that one person can't stop the killings and that his money talks in the streets, and later rapping that he can't be told what to do by anyone. He's with the murders and he stands by what he's done. On track 7, Never Imagined, another collaboration with Future, just like he did on Mad Max, Future would seemingly be rapping bars that described Dirk's situation perfectly, with lines about having shooters ready to kill for him, saying that he has demons that he sends on hits to have people killed for less than the price of a car, and seemingly describing Dirk's own career, saying that once he started making millions, he begun getting killed, as Future would drop a chilling bar where he would essentially admit to paying for the murder, saying that all it takes is a little money, or manyan, to have an enemy killed, or more specifically, knocked out of his shoes. The detail about shoes being particularly dark, as it appeared to reference the state of the crime scene after Lil Pab's murder, with his shoes being seen lying on the ground. But if Future saying it wasn't enough, Dirk would then go on to say the very same thing.
I think when they pulled him out the truck, his shoes came out. That's what I was trying to figure out, how his shoes
Dirk
got
would
out.
rap openly on Never Imagined about telling his young'uns to catch body after body. And in another line that would echo his potential future years behind bars, Dirk raps how he gave the streets more than he did his own kids. Track 9 saw Dirk referencing his Muslim faith in a questionable way. The song before Fajr, referring to the prayer, sees him immediately opening the song with what seemed like a tasteless reference to being able to watch the footage of Pab dying and Quando screaming every day, going on with a bar that's probably aimed at Quando, saying that it must have given him a headache because he knows that he looked at that clip and that Pab's head looked fake. This referring to the gruesome, uncensored footage of the murder that showed Pab's fatal injuries. To be honest, Dirk kind of makes a mockery of his religion in this song, and I've got to call it out, because at one point he raps about how one of his young'uns chases his ops around before going to prayer, and just making a prayer from the Quran the title of a track that's all about killing people and making fun of them, pretty blasphemous if you ask me, to be honest. There's actually one very strange bar where Dirk says that Chief Wook has seen him knock someone's mother down, and whilst this could be an innocent reference to Dirk hooking up with his ops baby mama, because he's talking so hot on these songs, there's part of me that feels like it could be referring to something much worse. It almost made me think back to that murder case on that woman, Shanita Lawrence, that was killed. Anyway, Dirk paints a picture of how he vets shooters in his neighborhood, asking members who their top killer is and offering to check their temperature and vet their body count. He rapped about an off being left leaking with shots to their torso, and he goes on to reference OTF Didi, saying that when he beats his murder, he's going to be even more dangerous. Dirk would end the song with more brutal lyrics referring to ops being murdered, saying how somebody would still be alive right now if someone else got it, which seems to me to be a clever way of saying that the wrong person got killed, but Dirk doesn't care either way, and ending with a final bar saying that he's seen his shooter hold his breath for 8 minutes and warning his ops that that's how long they're willing to chase them for. Track 10 on Almost Healed is the most brutal track, War Bout It, and in the song, Dirk appears to get 21 Savage in on the action too, mercilessly dissing Quando and mocking his reaction to Pab's death, screaming no on the hook of the song. And Dirk goes on to break down his apparent strategy of grooming new shooters for his block, rapping that he sends his shooters money, clarifying that it's not for promotion for his album and that he doesn't expect them to shoot for him without paying him, even saying that he brings his trusted shooters around his family and children and gives them power before asking them to go and shoot his ops. Dirk will seemingly claim to be the ringmaster of the weapons being used by his gang, saying that he swapped guns with another block and he didn't even shoot one himself. Then, in an apparent reference to both Youngboy and Quando's videotaped reaction to Pab's death, he raps that Youngboy must have heard Quando screaming on the news and likely had to turn the sound off on the disturbing clip, and later rapping that he spends hundreds of thousands on lawyers for his people, even saying that he can't name certain things he was responsible for, but then saying he makes his mother proud, perhaps a reference to avenging his brother's death. Even appearing to reference Lil Pab not being in his shoes at the time of the murder, saying that one of his shooters bragged about leaving an op outside in their socks. A truly disturbing lyric when you remember that's exactly what people saw on the news. Even 21 Savage would rub the tragedy in Quando's face on this song, starting his verse with the heartless bar, knock 'em all down like dominoes, later saying he's OTF for life, and seemingly saying to Dirk that if he catches a murder, don't even tell him about it, as well as referencing following ops closely in traffic. The next track had the ominous title You Got 'Em, and on it, Dirk raps how he gets his shooters in a car and tells them to spin repeatedly, and that sometimes it results in accidents, perhaps a reference to the wrong person being killed. Later, he says that he gets a certain reaction and that he keeps his murderers happy. On the next song, Grandson, a banger with Kodak Black that's a tribute to King Von, with Kodak boldly saying that he's a rapper and a killer, just like Von, Dirk would rap on the hook that he will shoot somebody and feel like Von afterwards, and in his verse he raps about keeping his shooters fed. On the next song, 300 Euros, Dirk seems to predict his own future, rapping that he has to watch what he says in songs or he'll be doing decades in prison like his father, and saying that they do people dirty in the streets and that he hopes he doesn't get killed as gruesomely as his enemies did, and how his shooters don't need to dress well and can still kill people wearing their Crocs. Dirk had a bar that appeared to aim at Quando Rondo again, saying how his friend is dead and he can't do shows. Dirk would then say a very ironic line that he doesn't tell his shooters to be careful because they don't slide to get caught, as well as saying that somebody froze when a shooter pulled up with a micro Drake and that his ops can't play with him because he has money and will catch them. Dirk then seems to clap back at NBA Youngboy with a lyric where he refers to himself as Murder Man or Merc, then backtracking saying they call him nothing because he's getting watched. This is clearly a shot at Youngboy. As I broke down in my 6-hour video on him, he often alludes to having used his money to have people killed in his gang war in Baton Rouge, with Youngboy frequently referring to himself as Murder Man in numerous songs. On track 14, Dirk would rap about somebody's friend dying because they jumped in front of the firing line and saved the target's life, another reference to Quando and Pab, with Dirk going on to reference Quando's reaction, saying they laughed when Von died, but when Pab died, Quando turned into a crybaby, and ending his final verse with another direct reference to the death of Pab in California, rapping that Rob49 saw that he had 4 guns in his house in LA and that California has real killers there. On the next track, B12, Dirk would start off with a playful but real bar, saying that when people catch murder cases they call Meek Mill since he managed to get out of his probation. Then, Dirk would strangely say that he doesn't put his name on hits, and seemingly denying that his crew kill people, saying, why are you bragging? They didn't kill anyone, before then backtracking and saying someone hopped out on feet like they're out of gas. Yet another slick double entendre that also hinted towards the gas station being the location for these murders committed on foot. Later in the track, Dirk would refer to using cash to pay for an unnamed service while his card is on file, going on to say that he gave someone chances and pounds of dope to do something, but they still haven't done it. And now the cops are watching, he has to bury his desires and not finish the job, but later rapping that his budget for killings is $2 million and that his killers are actively out looking to collect the bounties. With this probably having a double meaning, referring to the bond money that he puts down if his killers get caught to get them right back on the street sliding again. Dirk following that up with a line about how he got someone's location but knows they're not home, going on to rap that they got who they wanted, so it's over now, and bragging that he's paid for a couple of trials for his members. Later, on a collab track with Juice WRLD, Dirk has a strange change of heart, suddenly saying that he hates the trolling they do when you die. Then, in another violent song with a delightful title, Belt 2, Dirk would rap openly about being at the private jet airport with a killer, and later saying that he feels he always has to react to what he sees on the internet. Then there's another line with a double meaning, as Dirk says that he tried to go pop star but had to F up the streets, referring to both evolving his musical style and his inability to focus on his music career, distracted by the gang politics. The penultimate track on the project would be the Morgan Wallen assisted pop song, Stand By Me. But again, it's another emotional song that has a lot of foreshadowing of what was to come for Dirk, as Dirk seemingly raps and sings ambiguously with Morgan Wallen on the theme.
I can't help but think that this nigga he blew up so late, he might have still been involved with a lot of street shit, bro. Because he was getting a little boost, but it was taking, you know what I'm saying? He slowly climbed.
Of asking if a friend or woman would stand by them in hard times. For example, if they lost everything, or caught a federal case for murder for hire. The song is a fitting note to end on, and it lands powerfully now that we know where Dirk ultimately ended up. But for now, it would be some time before Dirk's alleged past would catch up with him. And going forward from this project and its massive success, Dirk would do everything he could to maintain his position as a mainstream pop artist, attempting to transcend the violent image of drill music and elevate himself into high society. Before the release of Almost Healed, Dirk would meet with Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot, and during the subsequent elections, Dirk would make a $150,000 campaign donation to future Mayor Brandon Johnson. From the outside, it looked like Dirk was a million miles away from the streets and having hits planned. He continued rolling in the circles at the very top of the music industry, in August walking out Drake for his Los Angeles set of his It's All a Blur stadium tour. But behind it all, Lil Durk was living a lie. One minute he was in the halls of political power, rubbing shoulders with current and future mayors. The next, he was in the studio, surrounded by his OTF demons, making some of the most violent and incriminating music ever released. And Durk's next music project would see him yet again shining a spotlight on some of the very people allegedly orchestrating murders for him. November the 17th, 2023, Durk and OTF released another group album, Nightmares in the Trenches. And it would seem that even the album cover itself had a hidden message of self-snitching on it, a label saying that this disc contains raw accounts of activities that occurred in various areas of the world. It doesn't say these are fictional stories or that the guns are props. This is hinting that this is a raw and a real explanation of things that actually happened. If you ask me, the part about all areas of the world is another covert hint towards that murder happening in California, rather than saying something like these are stories about the streets of Chicago. On the project, Dirk would rap about his body with witnesses testifying. Dirk would shout out one rap YouTuber that he respects, 1090 Jake, saying that he shows his videos about people being snitched onto his people and warning people against trolling him and acting like OTF are down on the gang. Later on the song Posted At with Kokilla and Bezu would ironically diss OTF accidentally, saying that you're not a real killer if you catch an accidental body, with Kokilla later rapping how they take ops souls and how he smokes dead ops with Didi. Later on, Bezu would claim to have made the score 3-0, inferring that he has 3 bodies, saying that he beat them because he doesn't leave a witness. Kokilla would rap about people getting shot, their friends dying, and crying about it. Then on the Dirk solo track Them Ones, he predicts his future again, saying that the judge might put a RICO case on him because of the people he's around, with Dirk later bragging that people are mad that his music career is going so well since he's promoting revenge. Dirk would rap a spooky bar on the hook that I think is aimed at Quando too, since his career had been struggling even before the death of Von, with Dirk rapping he ain't turnt no more, and that Dirk in contrast can't run out of money. A bar that's a lot more threatening when you remember the deadly violence that he seems to be able to buy with his money. The next track, I'm the Type, sees Dirk and Chief Wook rapping with arrogance, pretty much saying that they invented murders. Dirk begins his verse with a brazen line, making gun sounds and taunting his victims, saying, "You ain't think I was gonna get you, did you?" Following that up, pretty much confirming its relevance to the Pab murder, saying share locations, get up on him close, make his mental wiggle. Dirk then hints at revenge, suggesting that his enemies are the type to see their friends get killed and not get revenge, unlike him, who's up late, plotting on his enemies, appearing to suggest that he's actually done this 9 times. In another line, Dirk breaks down the process of having people murdered, saying that first he threatens them, then someone runs up on them and shoots, and then he's the messenger. A detail that hits different when you later learn that he was indeed using Apple iMessage to orchestrate an alleged hit. Dirk even reflects on remorse, saying that after he's had someone killed, killed, he
ass
then
and
wonders
wanna-
if he's screwing
and
up
I
the
really
blessing of his
fuck my
music career,
blessing
then
up.
ending his verse recounting a conversation with God where he says that he had to do it because he caught his op slipping and moving like Dirk wasn't beefing them. On the next song, titled Last One, this was an interesting track that saw Doody Low expressing his frustrations at the street life, saying that the last hit his gang did he can't talk about because the feds are indicting people, and that the last hit was so brutal he can't leave his home without a gun himself now. Then appearing to reference Pab's murder, saying the last person got caught out of town and that their target didn't get hit but doesn't come outside anymore. Doody Low would also express his opinion on the YouTube and vlog space becoming full of figures from Chicago streets, with Doody saying that his ops are vloggers now, perhaps a reference to anyone from FYBJ Main, King Yella, or FBG Butter. Doody Low would even reference an infamous YouTube channel, Chicago Rarest, known for posting body cam and prison footage exposing Chicago gangsters. Doody would continue to allude to paid hits, saying that he has 20k in bounties out and saying that people got killed for dropping diss songs, and that he's laughing now that getbacks have been administered. Next, on the track F It, Dirk mocks people trying to get attention off murders they didn't actually do. Dirk would later say that this death is a celebration and that he knows the right way to do people, as well as saying that his shooters will cut off their ankle monitors and hop on flights without standing warrants, with Dirk dropping a very subliminal line saying that you can pass the message to him, to me, this ain't what you want. Now I think this is a deep bar because not only is that the name of Dirk's song, but Lil Pab, many years before being allegedly killed by shooters sent by Dirk, was actually a big fan of Dirk's music, tweeting that Dirk's This Ain't What You Want was one of his favorite songs. Dirk would then reference OTF Jam, saying how serious he sounds when he's on the phone and that if he tells his shooters to do something he only has to ask once. The next track, Whatever You With.
How the fuck do this nigga know that nigga tweeted that shit way back then, bro? How the fuck do he know that?
With OTF D-Ski would see him openly talking about the violence, saying him and OTF are with all the violence. Later rapping how it only takes 10,000 to get someone's brain removed with a bullet, and saying that when he pops out, murders take place. The project would end on a strange note, as things switched tone and Dirk dropped an introspective track that would speak to his future situation. The song Smirk Carter starts with an intro from Robert Shipp, his father's co-defendant, who explains that he thought he was supposed to die in jail, but he got a second chance. Dirk...
Damn. I'm gonna have to read that.
Shit, his father...
What up, nephew? Man, you know what it is. I want to start this joint up by saying I'm so proud of you, man. But after that, it's all about a second chance. And everybody, especially the real niggas, real people from the hood, man, from the trenches, they deserve a second chance. Because a lot of us got caught up in the motherfucking, I don't know what the fuck that math. I don't know, with these people, man, just trying to lock us up for nothing. You hear me?
This co-defendant, who explains that he thought he was supposed to die in jail, but he got a second chance. Dirk would rap about his brother D-Thang gambling with his life and losing by not having a gun with him when he was killed, and again seeming to suggest that that murder was avenged, before going on to say that someone he knows got hit with a racketeering charge, despite him warning them to move differently. Clearly, no one was advising Dirk not to snitch on himself. If anything, this formula was working perfectly for Dirk, just like it did for his evil twin King Von. Ultimately, things were moving fast and going very well for OTF at this point, but it had now been over a year of self-incrimination, and the Lil Pab murder was likely being investigated deeply for some time. After all, it took over a year for Doug's killers to be brought to justice, but they all were eventually caught. Soon, the walls would begin closing in on Dirk and his crew, but the fall of Dirk was an interesting one, as coming at the end of 2024, arguably the best year of his career, it almost seemed as if the feds let Dirk climb to the very top of the mountain before grabbing him and lining him up for one of the most devastating downfalls in hip-hop history. With all of the self-incrimination that Dirk had done over the course of 2023, it would only be a matter of time before people began to put things together. And unfortunately for Dirk, on the internet, Reddit forums, and in YouTube videos, people would continue to speculate on these quite obvious crimes. I personally released a 4-hour documentary about Quando Rondo's life and the attempts to end it in 2023 that had over 4 million views before the feds officially filed charges. But I was by no means the only one making these speculations. In his February 2024 interview with DJ Vlad, FBG Butter would ask how Dirk...
Gotta explain that shit down, all the way down like a science, nigga. I seen that shit.
Who the you know, name get brought up and with actual proven facts that you done paid me some money to go kill him up, and I done killed the wrong motherfucker too.
Butter then, seemingly with inside knowledge at this point, months before any arrest took place, would hint towards one of Pab's shooters actually telling the police that he did it for Dirk.
The police know I work for you. Cause they say Shorty flat out told they like, man, Lil Dirk told me do that shit. And he paid me to do it. Showing receipts. Like, this gave me real money to get this man gone.
Despite having an explosive start to 2024, winning that Grammy for his inspirational song All My Life, behind the scenes, it seemed that Durk was fighting his demons from the very top of the rap game. He was notably absent for a short period of time, and in June 2024, Durk revealed that he'd actually gone to rehab for an addiction to codeine and Xanax, explaining how he was living too fast and decided that he wanted to focus on his family and peace.
So we got word that you were in rehab.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I want to embrace it, you know what I'm saying? Because it helped me a lot. I won't even say it was tough at first. It was tough at first, but it ain't that tough because I really knew what I wanted. You know what I'm saying? I knew what was holding me back.
And what was that? What did you want?
I wanted better. You know what I'm saying? I wanted to be a better man, a better father, a better leader, you know, so, but more action. So I got to make sure that self is good before, you know, anybody else. It helped a lot, you know what I'm saying? Just thinking clearer. See, my main goal is peace, you know what I'm saying? Being with the family and staying out of bull. You know what I'm saying?
Durk would open up about feeling that his life was too fast before rehab.
Moving fast.
Moving fast.
Making excuses. You know what I'm saying? Letting the drugs take over me. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, just like the codeine and everything. Just
Is that what it was? Was codeine?
Yeah, Xanax. But you know, make me. You know?
Durk would drop a song commemorating his release from rehab, being seen in a Louis Vuitton suit and a skinnier frame. The song was called Went Hollywood for a Year, and it was a Pain song with a 3-6 Mafia-inspired bridge that sounds like Durk is actually saying farewell to his beloved codeine cough syrup. In one line, Durk says that he'll give $1 million to somebody who can prove he's a snitch, and another $1 million, but then appearing to stop short of rapping, find him, as well as bragging that he has killers in his circle sharing his money and cars, and mocking someone, saying that their homie's killer is still alive, but for Durk, it's been a year since revenge. It seemed that Durk was back, trying to put a brave face on things and attempting to get his career on track. The month before his arrest, Durk releases a new song and music video as a teaser for his upcoming album. The song's called Turn Up a Notch, and just over a week later, he would release yet another track, this time with an interesting title. The song was called Monitoring Me, and obviously had a theme to suggest that Durk indeed knew that the authorities were watching his every move. And it also had some very suspect lyrics where Durk says that he can't send money to his killers in his own name, and that he doesn't know if the feds are setting him up, or if people are snitching. In another line
about all this shit. I ain't hear all these songs,
that resulted in Pab's death, Durk says that he wouldn't say his shooters missed their target because they were so close, as well as rapping more lines that he can use money to have people killed, then backtracking, saying that his killers will murder for his friendship, regardless of payment, as well as bragging about having seen his killers commit murder, then backtracking again, saying that he didn't see it, he just heard the shooter shout, "Get up," to the victim, and going on to say that if his enemies post their locations, his people will go there, and openly admitting that he pays for his people for more than just murders, hinting at OTF's dual role as a label and a murderous gang. Not only was the song another self-snitching anthem, but it came with a music video filmed at, you guessed it, a gas station. This was a strange time, and once again, Durk was seen to be living a double life. Clearly going into promotion mode, Durk was making major moves in the industry, but unlike his recent song release, some of what he was doing was actually positive. Durk's 32nd birthday was coming up on the 19th of October, and he was planning to make this one special, announcing his first annual birthday show at Chicago's prestigious United Center, home of the Chicago Bulls, with a concert capacity of 23,500 people. The show was epic, and Durk drove from the dressing room to the stage behind a literal convoy of Hellcats and Trackhawks, then performing the song with that very name from the back of a moving pickup. It was also a star-studded affair, with Durk bringing a number of huge names in the rap game out, like Bossman D-Lo, Sexy Red, Nardo Wick, who performed Who Wants Smoke with Durk, and even Lil Baby. Another interesting move was choosing to use the event to unite with Chicago's top content creators, sharing the stage with prolific interview host DJ U and rapper turned Instagram comedian FYB J Mane, notorious for his Whoop cereal and his pushing peace movement, with Durk's acceptance of J Mane, who actually hails from 63rd and was very good friends with FBG Duck, as approval of his pushing peace agenda aiming to stop the gang wars. Notably, in the name of pushing peace, at one point in the show, Durk would even put up on screen a collage of fallen gang members from both sides of the war. This was during an extended onstage speech reminiscent of Kanye's Stadium.
Okay, Duck is up there. I was finna say, where Duck at? It's a lot of niggas gone, bro, behind this
shows where he would tell the crowd that he was showing love to everyone in Chicago and telling the crowd to take a photo.
My brother J Mane one time this morning, man. So look, right? You see FBG Duck? I'm gonna do something ain't never been done one time, man, right? We gonna show love to everybody we lost in Chicago, man. So I need everybody put their phone lights out one time. For everybody who we lost in Chicago, man. Everybody, even if your face ain't on here right here, still showing love.
The show looked absolutely lit, and I really wish that I was there, because it's kind of...
I swear it's like niggas be knowing, bro. Niggas be knowing when they finna go to jail, bro. They get to change in their life and shit.
Sad to imagine both Dirk and the over 20,000 fans watching that this may very well have been Dirk's last show. By this point, he was at the pinnacle of his career. With a huge catalogue of bangers, he would rap hit after hit back to back on stage to the sold-out stadium. It's a huge reminder of how much he very well may have just thrown away. But then again, despite releasing a song called Monitoring Me, Dirk's situation with the law seems surprisingly good at this point. Strangely, in September, he announced that his felony record had been wiped clean of all cases, with Dirk saying how he believed that everybody should get second chances at life. Seemingly, now able to travel internationally, Dirk would make the most of his newfound freedom with lavish trips abroad. Dirk was even invited to dinner with Sheikh Mohammed bin Maktoum Bil Juma Al Maktoum, a member of Dubai's royal family, where he received an ornate cane as a gift. And Dirk also made his first ever trip to my home country, London in England, with him appearing outside freestyling in front of the iconic clock tower Big Ben and in the streets of upmarket Knightsbridge, even attending an NFL game with UK legends of the rap game, current king of UK drill Central C, grime clash veteran Chip, and road rap pioneer turned podcast pioneer Young Spray.
Bad people, you get me? Come on, man. Bad people.
But despite the smiles, many people thought that Dirk was cleaning house, knowing that bad news was just
Oh
around the
God,
corner. Dirk's last
nigga
IG live,
like he
he
know.
was seen praying, perhaps asking the Lord to spare him from the consequences that may have been lurking. Also in October 2024, rap media would report that Dirk's children had been sent on a trip to Disneyland. Perhaps this was truly an acknowledgement that their father was going to be absent for the remainder of their childhood, as the heartbreaking news would only be days away. And ultimately, on October the 23rd, 2024, things would come crashing down, when 5 affiliates of Lil Durk's Only the Family record label were arrested and indicted on serious charges, including conspiracy to commit murder for hire, committing murder for hire involving a death, and the use of a machine gun in a violent crime resulting in death. After the 5 members of his Only the Family crew were arrested in Chicago, it was only a matter of time before the feds would grab Dirk himself. He likely knew the clock was ticking after news broke of his close OTF associates being taken off the streets. Dirk would reportedly book multiple international flights in an attempt to not only get away, but also confuse the authorities and keep them guessing what his next move might be, with 3 flights all being booked to Switzerland, Dubai, and 1 private jet that was headed to Italy. Dirk was in Miami in South Florida.
That nigga didn't give a fuck where he went, he just knew he was getting the fuck on.
The Chicago rapper was attempting to flee to Italy before his arrest. All international flight bookings made on Dirk's behalf would raise suspicions that Dirk was planning to evade capture, and the feds would immediately swoop in, and then the music would finally stop. As 2 days after his 5 friends were arrested, before Dirk could board that private flight to Italy, federal agents would intercept him in Broward County, Florida on October the 25th. US Marshals would apprehend him, charging him with conspiracy for allegedly arranging that hit on fellow rapper Quando Rondo. The US Attorney's Office for the Central District of California would announce the arrest of Lil Durk on charges of conspiracy to use interstate facilities in a murder-for-hire plot that resulted in a fatality.
I want to begin now with some breaking news. Rapper Lil Durk is charged in a murder-for-hire plot.
Lil Durk's real name is Dirk Bank, and he is from Chicago. This is his mugshot from Florida, where he was arrested last night and is being held without bond. This comes only hours after 5 people associated with his music business were also accused and taking part in that murder-for-hire plot. Now, the plot targeted rapper Quando Rondo's cousin, who was killed in 2022. Investigators believe it was retaliation for the earlier murder of Chicago rapper King Von.
Local rapper and Grammy winner Lil Durk is being held behind bars in South Florida, charged in a murder-for-hire plot back in 2022.
The FBI says he was arrested while trying to flee the country. Investigators believe Lil Durk put out a hit on another rapper, Quando Rondo, in retaliation for the earlier murder of Chicago rapper King Von. Rondo's cousin also died in a shooting at a Los Angeles gas station caught on camera. Several of Lil Durk's associates have also been arrested in connection with this same plot.
The superseding indictment filed against Lil Durk himself would paint a detailed and damning picture of OTF as a criminal enterprise that was allegedly led and directed by Lil Durk himself. According to prosecutors, OTF operated not just as a music collective, but also as a violent organization that was engaged in murder, assault, and intimidation to maintain its dominance in the Chicago and broader music scene. The indictment alleges in black and white that Durk placed a bounty on Quando
And if
Rondo,
you just listen to the music, that's exactly what it sounds
opportunities
like.
within OTF to anyone who carried out the killing, and confirming that the murder of Pab was indeed revenge for the killing of King Von. Not only that, but this music-turned-murder enterprise had been incredibly sloppy in their actions, as the indictment would reveal an alleged text exchange where Durk would reportedly advise his shooters not to book no flights under no names involved with him. A tragic exchange suggesting that he was actively trying to cover his tracks and that his shooters had been incredibly cheap and reckless. And soon, Durk's situation would surpass Diddy's as the most trending topic in the rap media. Not only that, but those close to him would begin to find themselves under the magnifying glass too. In the aftermath of Durk's arrest, eyebrows began to raise about his ability to potentially influence the justice system and politics, with questions being asked about whether the mayor of Chicago would be giving back a $150K donation. But most importantly, all eyes would be on those in the indictment, both named and unnamed, as people would begin to uncover the dark, violent backstories of the perpetrators.
Somebody giving back $150,000. Why the fuck would they get the money back? Because he got locked up. Man, you better keep that damn money.
As well as intensely speculating on exactly who might have been the informant and who might have been the connection in California who told Durk and his demons to fly out and kill Quando. The first of the OTF crew in this indictment who seems to have been heavily involved in planning and executing Quando Rondo's hit was Kavon London Grant, aka OTF Vonnie. OTF Vonnie is a key figure in OTF's inner circle for years.
That's new who got the guns, the masks and shit.
King Von being well documented. Vonnie is also King Von's cousin and played a significant role in Lil Durk's operations as his business manager. Back in July 2019, Vonnie would be spotted with Durk and Von at the iconic Icebox jewelry store.
Can I get an OTF chain, man?
The way things are looking this week,
yeah. Woo!
Not gonna happen.
A1, right? A1, right? A1, right?
And by early 2020, he would once again be seen accompanying King Von as Von worked on designing and purchasing custom O-block chains that many believe were actually given out as trophies to celebrate the successful murder plot on FBG Duck.
Slim roll or just one?
Yeah,
right.
And I like the, you see how the leaves letters, I like them kind of like
graffiti style.
Just like, check this out. As I see. Like the O, like a, oh no, like longer instead of wider. Like, see, that's kind of wide.
I appreciate you guys once again. Thank you so much.
Definitely.
Hey, thank you, bro. Alright, definitely.
Yeah, Scally, big dog.
I don't jig it though.
Yeah.
So that's the only way I would.
Yeah, wrist big. Yeah, a little wrist.
Yeah.
Me, it look like a big rock.
Since you're not picking these up today, I'm gonna send you a sample image of all of them.
Alright, I'm texting to you anyway. We're gonna text everything I write, so.
Well, I can text this back to you.
Yeah.
Following King Von's death in late 2020, Vonnie's proximity to Lil Durk only grew, and by September 2021, he was back at Icebox, this time with Durk acting as a negotiator during a major jewelry purchase. In footage from the store, Vonnie can be seen haggling prices on Durk's behalf and carrying a massive stack of cash for the transactions.
3 1/4 and 2 1/4. 2.75. 2 3/4. 3 1/4, 2 3/4. That's about 15% difference. How much would it be? That's what he had before. The old one is exactly the same size. It's just like so how big is it? 4.5.
You can say 2.
It's 3 and he didn't like this because oh my God. Appreciate it. Chief.
Man, it's my birthday, man.
Comfortable as fuck. You ain't even know. You ain't even know I had.
No, that's how it goes. That's how they. Yeah, man. Birthday behavior, man. We ain't go around this.
It's like you were until the Tom Hagen. Watch. Godfather. Tom Hagen.
That nigga recording a Snapchat video and shit, flexing.
Close relationship with Durk, but also the level of trust that Durk was placing in him, with Vonnie seemingly handling significant amounts of money and playing a critical role behind the scenes for OTF. Another OTF member implicated in the paperwork is DeAndre Wilson, aka OTF Didi, or D-Ski, aka Big Threat. Didi had been involved in multiple violent altercations over the years, with him even managing to beat a murder case in 2023 in regards to a 2014 murder that took place in Chicago. But this wasn't just any murder, but the alleged get-back for the murder of Tay-Ski, whom Tay-Town is named after, something which would have made Didi a very respected member within Tay-Town. Other co-conspirators include Keith Jones, aka Flacker. According to unverified sources, Flacker himself beat a murder case back in 2011 after allegedly being acquitted for the murder of Big Baby from Hula Gang, an almighty P-Stone set based in Sunnyside or Magnolia that has a long-standing rivalry with the Gangster Disciples in Rogers Park in Uptown. The gang is named in honor of fallen member High C, preserving his legacy within its ranks. Then there's David Brian Lindsay, aka Brown Eyes, who's also named as a co-conspirator on the indictment, and Asa Hughes, Houston, aka OTF Boogie. However, along with Dirk, there still remains two significant question marks, as two unnamed co-conspirators had their identities withheld by the feds on the indictment, leading many to believe that these individuals have perhaps turned informant. There's been rampant speculation on the potential identity of co-conspirator number 4, particularly LA rapper and rising podcast and content star Brick Baby, mainly due to him being one of the
Everybody
first
say
people
that shit,
that
Brick
Dirk
Baby.
slid for Von.
Off of Von,
Ain't
right?
nobody.
Yeah.
They say you can't say that no more. You can't say that no more.
Oh, because of FVG Cash?
Nah, cause Lil Pop.
Now, Brick has made numerous references to the crime in music, but in my honest opinion, there's really been no solid evidence provided to prove that he is actually the person that lined up Quando Rondo, just rampant speculation. In fact, Brick has talked about this case with so much openness and confidence, I personally believe that he was simply using the false allegations as fuel to boost his career, and it seemed to work. In fact, there's actually an alternative theory floating around the internet that the actual person who set up the murder is a lesser-known LA gang member by the name of TS from a set called Gutter Ave, with Reddit posts claiming that him and his friend had a personal vendetta against Quando after Quando refused to do a song with them. However, once again, at this stage, this is all speculation, and it's highly possible that this person's identity may never be revealed to the public, and it could be somebody that we have absolutely no idea about. The other person who people have speculated may have been informing the authorities is co-conspirator number 2, who's actually one of the shooters. There's been intense speculation on social media that this person is in fact a beloved member of Dirk's crew by the name of OTF Jam, someone who Dirk frequently rapped about, saying that Jam vets killers for his crew, along with one rather suspicious line where Dirk points out that Jam is always very serious when they talk on the phone. Well, real name Casey Hester, OTF Jam was once considered a rising star within Dirk's Only the Family label. In 2010, Jam was convicted of a shooting, being sentenced to a minimum of 12 years in prison for attempted murder, and he would complete his jail term in February 2022. Lil Durk would post a picture of the stack that he had for OTF Jam as soon as he got out, with some Reddit Sherlocks counting and deducing it was over $250,000. In an interview in May 2023, Jam himself would verify that Lil Durk had taken care of him, giving him over $50,000 when he got released.
Because he's super solid, but like a lot of, like, you know what I'm saying? He said Jam get out that jam, I'll give him 50, he ain't got to ask again, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? He ain't got to ask, bro. He said he gave me 50, bro. You know what I'm saying? Fact. More than that. More than that. But so, can you tell us how much he gave you, or you don't want to?
No, we ain't gotta get into all that, but bro made sure he made a way for me to be straight, like he's saying, gotta ask again, you know, like free a car, all that. He let me take care of anything I need to take care of, period. Like, it's still up.
This is why people were surprised that when a year later, he would become a focal point in reports suggesting that he may have cooperated with the authorities against Lil Durk. Jam even had his very own track on the highly incriminating OTF mixtape, Loyal Bros 2, released just months after the murder of Pab, a song ironically called Federal Freestyle, with lyrics where Jam rapped solo, admonishing others for snitching and asking suspicious questions. After Durk's indictment suggested a member of OTF had been cooperating with the feds by wearing a wire for the span of 2 years, Jam's snitching allegations would surface on various media platforms, and adding to the speculation, a photo would be posted on social media appearing to depict Jam dining on fast food whilst reportedly
what the fuck, bro?
The case. This photo shared by DJ Academic.
And he's looking up at the camera.
Security camera while
That's
eating,
some AI
prompting
shit, bro.
captions like "Bro really snitched on Dirk for McDonald's." However, it would later turn out that this image was a AI-generated fake, but that didn't stop the speculation. And the next day, on October the 28th, 2024, internet personality Wack100 would support the reports that OTF Jam had indeed cooperated, explaining the details in a Vlad TV interview. Wack would go on to explain that although Jam served his whole 12-year sentence, he would get a gun charge that resulted in him wearing a wire for 2 years.
There's a guy named OTF Jam.
That was wired.
Very ironic name.
Jam
now
got
he
him
put
in a
everyone in the
jam.
jam.
Did 12 years.
12
got
years.
out, interviewed, said he kept it real, brought him cars, gave him 50,000.
Right.
This. Made mention that ain't no smut on his name. He ain't never been a rat. Caught a gun case, but eventually he flipped.
Yep.
He got put in the jam and now he's
right.
He got put in the jam. Now he put niggas in the jam. No
for
diddy.
attempted murder back, I guess around 2010. He got out in 2022. Right around the same time of the Quando situation. And he allegedly had been wearing a wire for the last 2 years.
From 22 to 24.
Yeah.
So he immediately got caught up.
Yes.
Then, on October the 30th, footage would circulate on the internet, allegedly showing an uncomfortable-looking OTF Jam, footage which people believed showed him wearing a wire near Lil Durk. The viral footage would show a nervous Jam looking anxious around Durk, with many alleging that Jam was looking very uncomfortable, triggering suspicions that at this point he was recording. But there's no proof of that.
Check on your man. I heard you got here to this area. I ain't gonna lie, man. Hey, when I was growing up, I never happened to dare. Architect. Metro!
No, so he doing like a nigga that stole something right now.
Me with a cash. So I picked my shit up. I'm like, man, this thing boom, man. He laughed. He said, I ain't do that. I said, slow. In case. Trying to tell him.
Additionally, unverified claims would surface alleging that Dirk had actually ordered a hit on a woman speculated to be close to OTF Jam after suspecting Jam of being an informant. According to an interview between academics and Chicago reporter Trench's News, the mother of Jam's child actually contacted Dirk after Jam was arrested, and Dirk refused to pay his bond. An apparent threat was then made to Dirk.
Get bonded out in. They don't know nothing about no white, but he did make a threat to Dirk, like, if you want to come in, you know what I'm talking about, how you gonna play somebody who be putting in work and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? And they took it as a threat, and that he told us. I don't know how he got mixed in with the Quando Rondo, but yeah, they say he's...
I've been holding you down because I heard you say something about like his baby mama called Dirk for a lawyer, and Dirk may have like brushed it off, and they're like, yo, you're not supposed to brush off my call when I need something. Like, I'm the guy who does the dirt for you.
That's facts. And, like, you got some real demons out there, like, you finna find me out, no matter what I did. Or you gonna come in with me.
Type shit.
Sometimes you gotta make them threats. Jump off that couch, you're gonna snap time money.
According to news reports, on July the 19th, 2024, Octavia Redmond, a 48-year-old postal worker, had been brutally gunned down in broad daylight whilst delivering mail in Chicago's West Pullman neighborhood. A 15-year-old kid ran up to her in front of a house, shooting her 26 times.
Damn, 26 times?
This morning, Chicago police have released surveillance video of a person of interest in the deadly shooting of a postal worker.
The shooting happened last month in the West Pullman neighborhood. Mugo Odigwe is live in the newsroom this morning with a look at that new video. So, Mugo, what does it show?
Well, first off, we know the U.S. Postal Inspection Service is already offering a $250,000 reward for information leading to an arrest and conviction in this case. And now, Chicago police are hoping the new video gets them closer to the killer. So here's that video on your screen. Part of it shows a man getting to a white Dodge Durango near 70th and Campbell. This is right before the shooting. Then at some point, the same video shows a man getting out of that Durango near 121st and Harvard. He runs across the street and out of view. Then he runs back to the car before it drives off. Police say on that day, Friday, July 19th, around 11.
He had to have a switch 26 times, bro. He came back too fast.
Redmond was in front of a home near 121st and Harvard when a man walked up to her and shot her. She died at the hospital. The Dodge Durango used in the shooting was later found abandoned and torched in the middle of a field on South Holland Avenue. Now, anyone with information on this shooting is asked to call Area 2 detectives, or you can leave anonymous tips at cpdtip.com.
A $250,000 reward would be offered for any information leading to the arrest and conviction of the perpetrator, with an anonymous
15 years old,
the arrest of the juvenile killer in Iowa.
Breaking news at this hour, a 15-year-old boy is charged with shooting and killing an on-duty U.S. Postal Service worker. He's accused of murdering 48-year-old Octavia Redmond on 121st and Harvard back in July. Chicago police officers and the U.S. Marshals Great Lakes Regional Fugitive Task Force took him into custody yesterday in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. The teen was extradited to Chicago and is set to appear in juvenile court sometime this morning. Detectives received an anonymous tip that helped identify the suspect.
This murder had been circulated with many headlines that suggested that this was OTF Jam's baby mother. However, a user on X would debunk these claims, alleging that Redmond had absolutely no connection or affiliation to OTF. Official reports and reputable news outlets have not since established any link between Redmond and OTF Jam, hence there's no credible evidence to support the assertion that they had any personal or familial ties. Some users, however, have still ran with this speculation, suggesting that the killing was somehow a targeted attack, with the shooter intentionally approaching her and mistaking her identity as the intended target, with some going even as far as to suggest that this was another hit sent from Dirk that ended up killing an innocent bystander. I personally don't buy it. Now, it's important to note that the criminal complaint and indictment documents do not explicitly name Jam as an informant, though they do reference an unnamed individuals and key witnesses by their initials. This has even led to subreddits questioning whether or not it's really Jam who got Dirk in the jam. And while I personally believe it's likely that Jam could be the informant, at this stage there's still no proven paperwork to confirm this. And there's really no way of knowing for sure until this goes to trial. In December 2024, OTF Jam would finally break his silence with a scathing social media media post denying being the snitch in the case and accusing other OTF members of disloyalty and sloppy behavior, attracting the attention of law enforcement rather than him. Currently, Dirk, Vonnie, Didi and Boogie are held at the Metropolitan Detention Center, or MDC, Los Angeles, awaiting trial. And since his arrest, the only thing we've heard from Dirk is a phone call from jail that would suggest that despite his celebrity status, he turned down protective custody and is now navigating life behind bars in general population.
I said, I know you're rich, but if you need anything, you know I got you.
I appreciate it. You know the thought that counts,
yeah, hell yeah. I know how that shit be, but it don't matter, but we ain't never moved off money except for that first time. Once it was that, it was that. Once it was like then, everything was history.
Yeah. I feel back to you same. I came up here like, yeah, where you from? What you got going? I came to it, yeah.
Man, what? The PC. Hey. Hey, I respect your mom forever. The PC.
Yeah. Downstairs they be like, man, you know you, man, send me upstairs. Whatever it is, I gotta tap to it. Nah, for sure. Can't go no more. PC and come out and all crazy.
While we still don't know how Dirk's trial is set to unfold, if the fate of the killers of FBG Duck is anything to go by, things aren't looking good for OTF. Dirk's fall may well go down as one of the most dramatic falls in hip-hop history. In 2024, Lil Durk was at the peak of his career, having just gotten a Grammy Award and being listed as a top 10 rapper by various music publications. He truly built himself a legacy like no other in the rap game, arguably the most successful drill rapper of all time, and certainly the voice of his generation of gangster rap. Fans and the Reddit communities who have closely followed the rise and evolution of the Chicago drill movement compared Dirk's arrest to a dramatic season finale of this more than a decade-long saga in the drill scene, with countless deaths claiming major figures and prison sentences taking others. Only a select few, like Chief Keef, G Herbo and Lil Bibby, had managed to escape that early drill era with their lives and freedom. Dirk was for years the poster child for what making it out of the streets and becoming a mainstream pop sensation really looked like, but it would seem the pull of the past was just too much for him. Dirk's commitment to the street code and getting revenge for his fallen friends and family may have ultimately cost him everything he worked so hard to build, and now, as he sits in jail awaiting trial, he's left to confront the harsh reality of the many lessons he ignored, lessons that he could have learned from, the mistakes and tragedies of those closest to him. Dirk's story should serve as a cautionary tale, a stark example of what not to be, especially for anyone fortunate enough to rise above the trenches. With dozens of people depending on him, including his own family, Dirk had every reason to steer clear of the path he chose. He should have taken to heart the lesson etched into his own past with the incarceration of his father, but now his children will grow up without him, all for a revenge that didn't even need to happen. The fact is, King Von was a ruthless killer, and Dirk should have never brought him into his inner circle. If Von was still alive today, it's very possible that he would be serving life for the murder of FBG Duck, and him and Dirk may well have even faced trial for that attempted murder in Atlanta. Ultimately, Von lost his life after sucker punching another gangster rapper and grossly underestimating the consequences. Von was completely in the wrong that night, and Dirk was completely in the wrong for allegedly trying to kill Quando and taking the life of an innocent young black man in the process. The facade of All My Life, Dirk pleading that his whole life people have been trying to take him down unfairly, has fallen apart. And if Dirk ends up getting convicted of this murder for hire, he has only himself to blame, and he can't say that the media or society unfairly portrayed him. In fact, if he really did this, in many ways, he truly set his people back. Even Quando himself said on October the 27th, in an apparent reference to Dirk's case, he'd expressed sorrow about how everything had worked out. He didn't want to have these issues with Von that night. And I know it's not easy for me to say, having never lost a friend under these circumstances, but Dirk really should have killed his enemies with success rather than bullets. He was already a bigger artist than Quando. He didn't need to keep dragging this beef, but ego and bravado ultimately blocked his blessing. To at least give him some grace, if you put yourself in Dirk's shoes, you might well have done the same thing. I haven't lost over 30 people to the streets. Becoming rich and having all of that money and the people around to pay to have your ops killed must have been incredibly alluring. And despite King Von being in the wrong when it came to that fight with Quando, when it comes to the murder of his blood brother D-Thang, I can only imagine the burning desire for revenge. But then when you look at the cases of FBG Duck and FBG Cash, that was nothing more than senseless gang warfare. Now all of these men's children have to grow up without their fathers around and their mothers without their sons. And that goes for Lil Durk too. If he winds up doing life in prison for these murders, he, just like his own father, robbed his children of a priceless relationship. And perhaps that's part of the problem with this cycle of violence. Young men growing up without the right guidance or leadership to put them on the righteous path has led many to commit crimes that might not have otherwise happened. The problem with this is that Dirk was really a two-faced example, flip-flopping between his persona of the voice and pushing a positive message for the youth trying to be a role model, but then in the same album, as that role model, with the ears of the youth open to him, He then took on his evil twin persona, pushing the violence, mocking the victims, and teaching the youth that murder and revenge is cool. All of this made Dirk an incredible artist, but a flawed man. Dirk ultimately isn't the role model that people thought he was, and that's the biggest tragedy here. So if I can end this video with one message, it's that there's nothing cool about taking lives. Nothing cool about spending your whole life looking over your shoulder, and nothing cool about spending decades in prison away from your friends and family. No amount of praying can protect you from judgment. So if you're a young person in a difficult position with hard choices to make, you ultimately should look at Dirk as a shining example of what not to do. He seemingly made terrible choices and may well end up paying the ultimate price. It's truly heartbreaking to see what was supposed to be a shining example of getting out of the streets and doing something positive with your life wind up being shattered. At the end of the day, we need a lot more J Mains and a lot less Lil Durks so that the next generation can put the guns down, stop the violence, and really push some peace. I hope you found that video interesting. Thank you for your time, and once again, rest in peace to everybody who lost their lives.
RIP to everybody, gang. That was a good ass video. Bro. A good detailed ass video. That nigga went deep into detail. That's why I fuck with Trap Lord. Oh God. I'm not even subscribed to this shit. I'm subscribed to this clip channel. Hey, drop in the comments, leave a like, bro. Let me know how y'all feel about that shit, bro. Did Dirk do all that shit? I don't know. That shit crazy. Crazy shit, man. Crazy shit. Crazy shit, man.
Actually, that reason I was going to give you a party. We'll get to it. Let's start with Young Thug and let's start with Young Thug's young. So, chat, if you don't know, ooh, I don't even got a thumbnail. What's going on with me? Yo, Drill, could you fix that? I don't have a thumbnail for my YouTube King Academic shit. Then we're gonna get into Young Thug stuff. By the way, I think you guys are really intelligent and smart to know, some of these things and where they're coming from. Okay, so let me explain to you what's happening, chat. Okay? And I'll be very honest with y'all. The Fulton County DA's office, right? Which they are the people who control some of this info. They're upset. They're salty at Young Thug. They got spanked in court. And after realizing that Young Thug essentially has made himself a bigger artist, and also essentially has made himself look like he was bigger than the law, they're now trying to do underhanded tactics to try to get in. Now, let me tell you how it works with Young Thug, okay? So, when you go through a trial, most of the information included in the trial is for public consumption, okay? Now, why do I say most? Because in America, a trial, unless some unforeseen circumstances, is usually the state, the county, or the federal government prosecuting on behalf of the people versus an individual, an organization, or a group of people. What does that mean? It means, especially after they have established things like the Freedom of Information Act, and also, you know, obviously some states have already respected that with sunshine laws and such forth, that the people, like Fonnie Willis is representing the people of Fulton County. When she files a lawsuit, or she criminally charges actually, Young Thug and YSL, she's representing the people of Fulton County. So if you're operating and using the resources, tax money, resources of what the people are paying for, they're entitled to some type of transparency. Okay? Now, under certain circumstances, it's like, well, that would hurt us if we're all the way transparent. If we tell you everything we got on this guy while we're making a case, we might not make the case, it becomes redundant. So what happens is, in a investigatory process, you don't get a lot of information. Throughout the court process, at times you will get information, but not all of it. I'll tell you why. Because once the prosecutor has deemed whether it's an interrogation footage, a jail call, as something that helps their interrogation, it cannot be released. Here's the thing, however, once it gets to the crime, or the person who's on trial has officially been adjudicated, and adjudicated means they have came to a conclusion or came to a disposition in that trial or that case, which means whether they took a plea, got found guilty or not guilty, the evidence that the prosecutors presented in court becomes of public record. Okay? Now, this is why I'm saying Fulton County, they're salty. These jail calls you would have never got while Thug was locked up. And actually, we still did get shit while he was locked up. And that was because of supposedly witness intimidation. Remember the first jail calls where he was talking to Mariah the scientist? Somehow they allowed those to be released to the media or whoever who requested it. And they said the reason why we could release these now is because we had investigated Young Thug for witness intimidation and for these other ancillary things not being the case. Because we're not investigating that no more, we could let you see what we were looking over. Now, we saw the very first jail call with him and his girl where she showed him the chain. None of that looked like it was any of the sort, but then you get to realize this is why, again, and you know me, I'm a pro-police guy, but the police they play games as well. They don't like to get beat in court and embarrassed. They allowed that to go. And when I say police, really subsequently the DA's office that doesn't, usually for shit like this, when you submit it, you might submit it to a clerk. That clerk might tell you a few things. Hey, we're gonna see if we could, if we have if we recorded that information that you're requesting, then we're gonna see if we can release it. Now, a lot of times, they'll just ask the prosecutor, or they'll ask the police, hey, do you have body cam footage? Hey, do you have this? They might be like, oh yeah, we do. Now, they might be like, oh yeah, we do, but it can't be released because this is investigation material. Atlanta does that a lot. I know this. That's fact. They'll tell you we can't release shit until the case has been what they call adjudicated. So the case has been finished, right? However, when the prosecutors / the cops probably feeling whatever, they could, oh no, like, again, all jail calls are monitored. And I've seen people talk about privacy. So we can speak about privacy for a second. The same way how we sat here and understood that Diddy's cell got raided and they found folders or whatever, Young Thug was an inmate. He's not a private citizen, okay, the Fourth Amendment right that goes against unlawful searches and seizures doesn't really apply to me. And also, it's also baked in the cake that all jail calls are monitored. Now, I'm gonna say something y'all probably don't want me to say, but I'm gonna be honest with you. These guys are rich and famous guys. If Young Thug wanna have a private conversation, he could get a cell phone. It's $1,500. He's a millionaire, multi-millionaire. If he's gonna be on a jail call, he'll be an idiot to just sit there and just talk all of his business, okay? When you call someone and they have video, and you know, we've advanced in technology. Now you can have these video jail calls. It literally says, this entire thing is recorded. It reminds you every 15 minutes, damn near. So only an idiot would sit there and be like, oh, let me just tell you everything about my case. And so Thug probably took these as, I'm gonna talk to my bitches, respectfully. I'm gonna talk to my bitches, my hoes, that got nothing to do with my case. I could talk to my niggas about chicks, but you won't probably find anything where he's definitely find anything where he's talking about his case, right? For that, he probably got a cell phone in his cell. And I don't know if he'll ever come out and say it, but probably every rapper who's locked up got a cell phone. Yo, nigga just FaceTiming from jail. Nigga FaceTiming from jail with a Cuban on. I couldn't even believe it. What's that? So again, these conversations aren't really that relevant. It's about, as I like to call, dick and pussy business. You're talking to your girls, blah, 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 blah. You're wasting time. You get out the cell for a bit, da, 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 da. So this is going back to what I'm saying. So why do you release this? Well, Fulton County is upset. They're upset that Young Thug just beat their ass. So you know what they're now doing? And it shows you how much the the government there, or the DA's office, cared about the media. Because they're releasing specific things to these organizations to make Thug get in trouble socially. Oh, you know you was talking to 15 girls. There's other girls that they got him talking to. You know, right? Oh, you were talking to 15 girls when you were locked up. Oh, you admitted this to your homie about you having a foursome cheating on your girl. None of that could send you to jail. But a lot of that could get you mad, your girl mad at you, and get people looking at you different, right? That's what they're doing, okay? So I want to warn you with this to let you know where it came from before, and you might be like, man, fuck out of here. Nah, if I'm locked up, I want to talk to 15 girls too. That's what it is. So first and foremost, we're gonna get into the second one where he's talking to his buddy, which again, how could this call even be looked at as having any investigatory value that eventually you would release this to the public? But they are. And by the way, here's the thing too. Not because all jail calls on the jail phone are monitored, it doesn't mean everything is for public information. It doesn't mean that. Because I see people bringing up privacy, right? No, it's not. Like, if there's conversations where, you know, there's conversations sometimes like, hey, listen, yo, nah, fill out that application for me. Yo, you know, so-and-so got my power of attorney, have them sign it. Oh yeah, my social is this. They're not gonna release that. They're not gonna release like some crazy shit where you're giving out mad personal details. So they're releasing shit that they felt at a point had some investigatory value, and now they're saying it's cool to release. Why the hell are we seeing Young Thug macking and talking to his girls? What the hell investigation could you have thought he was doing here? What investigation could you be doing on him while he's talking to the side chicks? Anyway, let's bring this up. Now, you guys might not know who you're seeing, so let me explain. So I want to be very clear and very, you know, again, we're not here to make nobody look bad. The date on this says 7/29/2022. Okay, the woman you see on the left, her name is Lena Syed. I want to give you a real quick, brief intro to her. She's a woman who was involved in a group named the Taz Angels. Okay, you can watch many documentaries about the Taz Angels. And I'm going to speak very carefully here because I know how people are. The Taz Angels were seen to be a group that had this guy kind of running the ship, and it was almost seen as they were high-end, very beautiful escorts, okay? Now, I don't know if they're escorts. This was word on the streets. There's YouTube videos of the Syed sisters. So we got, I think this is Lena, or I don't know, two of them.
See, that
Okay. Now, if I have to, I hope I don't have to play a whole thing on the Taz Angels. Like, you know, there's a whole story. Like, you could probably Google all of those girls. And by the way, let's just read through it. Okay. So, founded in 2011, the Taz Angels comprises of 6 main members, including Lena Syed, Ashley Martel, AB, Ruby Syed, so those are the sisters, the Syeds, Catherine Portes, aka Cat the Great, and Kimia Kinky Lopez, okay? There's also former members like these people, Anna Montana, Annabella Carrasco, Lesha Marie, and Jasmine, or Miller Jasmine. It was founded on lifestyle. So essentially, there was this guy, I believe he was in and around the Miami area. He realized that all of these rappers didn't give a fuck about fucking the same girls. Like, all rappers literally fuck, like, literally. So what would happen is these guys would come to town and they would be like, yo, they want the baddest bitches with them, or they want the girls that were popping. And this guy found a really interesting niche. Well, I could have these girls portray a lifestyle that when rappers come to town, they want to be with them. And that almost turns him into, some would say, a pimp, but he did it different. He was just like, I'm not a pimp. I'm just here, you know, kind of, that's why people call it escort, okay? Again, I'm not saying that that's what exactly they were, but that was okay. So it was about lifestyle, entertainment, branding, whatever. So they had a bad bitches link up, and it showcased the most beautiful women, right? So for instance, they host concept trips across the most popular nightclubs in the USA, from cities to New York City to whatever. In doing so, they often linked up with mad people like Amber Rose, Diddy, Drake, Lil Wayne, Beyonce, Jay-Z, okay? And okay. So, now, again, the Taz Angels has subsequently damn near disbanded. And these women, still beautiful women, still young, have gotten with random dudes. Lena Syed has gotten with a boxer known as Devin Haney. Now, I do want to just give you a little bit of Taz Angels. I want to just show you the documentary. Okay, the fall of the Taz Angels. Is this? Here we go.
To his advantage.
Okay, we need a better. So essentially, this shit ended. Wow, and this is one of those if you know eras. Like Taz Angels was, you know, they said she was recruiting dudes.
Hey guys, this is Taz Angels Cat, and I'm here at the Taz House of Angels, and tonight we're getting ready to go out. We're gonna go recruit tonight. We're going to live.
Oh, by the way, the guy name is Taz. That's why it's Taz Angels.
And there should be some bad bitches in there tonight. There's always bad bitches that live. What we do when we recruit typically is, you know, we put out a motherfucking Sunday's Best, and yeah, this is my Sunday's Best. Bad Bitches Link Up Tea by Caviar.
Now, granted, this guy would definitely be getting a Diddy charge if he still was going on with this, right? So,
because he would control these women, a man who no one really saw, who goes by.
So this name is Taz. This is the guy.
The name of Taz. Okay. So Taz is a and
so these are the women that were included in his bunch. Now I'm gonna be honest with you. There was a lot of industry chatter that these women were basically, it was kind of like a harem, or really like he recruited the best looking women, and because of his proximity to dudes, he would escort them allegedly. One notoriously is this woman right here, is the one that we're talking about, which is Lena Syed. Okay.
And I'm pretty sure They basically did whatever he wanted them to do. They were basically a prostitution group, to say the least. The women in the group consisted of Kat, AB, Kinky, Lena, Ashley, and other women that would come and then go, and of course their boyfriend Taz. And there were
So he was seen as dating all of them. Allegedly, he would just, let these girls, like, say, I don't want to name a rapper to incriminate them, but so-and-so comes to town, they want to hang with bad bitches. Yo, you hang with so-and-so, right?
definitely wanted to host the events with them, go to the clubs, party, drink, live in that mansion that they lived in. They also lived in Miami, so who didn't want to experience that lifestyle? Who didn't want to party in Miami? Yeah, so I definitely... Most of the girls even left the group. Like, there's only 1 million followers at a certain point, but now they only have around 800K. It's pretty obvious that they fell off. No one really...
So essentially, the group kind of disbanded. Like, everybody just kind of dipped from the Taz Angels.
He talks about them anymore. They aren't really popping on social media anymore. Most of the girls even left the group. Like, there's only 2 girls remaining. There's only AB and Kat left in the group. And Kat has always basically been the ringleader. She's always been the one who recruited the girls. She's very loyal to Taz. And
now, again, I don't want to bore y'all with this video, but essentially, so the Taz Angels became one of the like, this guy was smart. It's like, yo, rappers want to come to certain cities and they want to have the baddest chicks around them, but they might not have the time to really go talk to these girls. They want girls around them that help their image look lit, party with them, they're beautiful, whatever. It's a mutual thing. Let me create a brand of bad bitches, and then the rappers, when they come in, I'll have them kick it with the rappers. Now, you know how that kind of is, right? Like, yeah, after you kick it with them, okay. But essentially, that was like a really, it was almost like peanut butter and jelly. Rappers love bad bitches. Here's a brand of bad bitches. But there was a lot of things that was revolving around the realm of what we see now, even Diddy's accused of. Sex trafficking, coercion, violence. Hey, if you don't do A, you don't get paid B. And those are things that eventually, once you've flown too close to the sun because you're hanging out with celebrities, now your name is, I always say you don't want to be a famous criminal. The famous criminals get caught, right? Because the famous criminals, like, the police is going to be like, all right, let's investigate this motherfucker. Essentially, shit was getting hot, and I don't know if the dude ever got arrested for anything of the sort, but he kind of fell back off of that. And also social media helped because now other attractive women could just, like, get easier access to men without being associated with Taz Angels.
And in December of 2016, they were evicted for failing to pay $41,000.
Okay, so they had a house, they were evicted.
Coins. So clearly it got to the point where these women were fed up, they were tired, and they knew that they could do just as well, just as good.
And by the way, we also do have to say this, right? Like, all respect to Sharp. I don't have smoking anymore. But like the pimp era, or where you have a bunch of girls under your thing. I mean, I guess the new OnlyFans managers are like this. That pretty much abruptly ended when women realized I could just post thirst traps on the gram and guys hit me directly. And I could figure out in a way, or a safe way, how to link with them, do what I gotta do, get my bread, or even if I'm just partying with them. I don't need the middleman, right? But before social media, the idea of the brand was what people were attracted to. Oh, if I'm a Taz Angels, now guys are gonna come to me. These days, niggas hit up any girl who is attractive on Instagram with no association. So it eventually was gonna fall
on their own. I just feel bad for Kinky, could make money on our...
Okay, all right. So now let me give you some factually accurate information. Devin Haney fights. Let's look at his fights. He fought in. So this is 10. I don't know. So October 16th, George Cambosa Jr. Okay, and he actually won. Now, let me show you that. George Cambosa Jr. versus Devin Haney post-fight. Now, the reason why I'm showing you this, chat, is because this footage was taken in, what's that? July 29th, 2022. So I want to show you, because she's supposedly married to Devin Haney. Now, she's married now to Devin Haney, but back when this happened, Devin Haney was having this fight. And here we go. Actually, I'm probably good. Maybe this is it. Okay, this is Devin Haney. That's his father back here. See it. So that's the fight. And the only reason I'm showing you that is to show you that essentially at that time he was with her. He was with another woman who has her own history named India Love. So I could actually tell you. So look, this is India Love. This is who he was dating at the time.
Any smoke, anywhere, nigga, we got it. You see it, you see it, you see it.
So this was her reaction to Devin Haney beating that guy after that date of the phone call. Okay, so I do want to put out there, she was not with Devin Haney at the time of the phone call with her and Thug. However, I think because all of these women have so much digital footprint with so many different men, the internet doesn't really care about the time. Like, they're just like, yo, you seem to, like, you were this guy's side chick. And you know how men think. You, like, I ain't gonna lie, me, I don't want to wife up another man's side chick. Like, if he didn't think you were qualified enough to be his wife, why the fuck do I want you to be my wife? You get what I'm saying? So, the social media doesn't really care that much, but to be factually correct, at the time of this video, when she is crying to Thug, she wasn't Devin Haney's wife. Devin Haney was this woman.
You already know the vibe. I said it once, I say it again. My man is the best in the world. We any smoke, anywhere, nigga. We got it. You see it, you see it, you see it.
Okay, so that was her then, right? And yeah, this is another video of her reacting.
With the champ's girlfriend, how was the performance?
Impeccable. You already know the vibe.
Did you expect him to be that good tonight? The right hand, he heard George many times. Do you think it was more exciting than the first one?
Absolutely. I mean,
so you heard him say, is it more exciting than the first one? If we go back to the boxing record, remember they did two, right? So the second one was in October 16th, 2022, and going back to the call, this call is 7/29, which is July 29th, 2022. So Devin Haney, for the record, was not with this woman. However, subsequently, it is now his wife. Okay? And again, this is a thing about, you know, a lot of, me personally, I believe some of that red pill shit is going to come back because it's always, we're moving in cycles. We have a cycle of red pill shit, then we have a cycle of whorism and feminism, then it comes back around. I think the timing is same with the Travis Hunter shit, the Devin Haney shit, like anything that's basically saying, yo, these women ain't deserving of whatever, or they're judging their past. It's a direct response to these women being or celebrating promiscuity. Now again, I want to be very clear. Even though this chick was in Taz Angels, which is known as a promiscuous possible escort group, she wasn't with Devin Haney when she did this. And I just want to be clear with that first. Okay, cool. So we don't need to go back into that. Let's go into this conversation. Make it a little smaller. And so she's not with Devin Haney yet. But apparently, Young Thug is dealing with her. Now, it's very fair to assume that this is one of Young Thug's sides, right? And clearly, Young Thug, when he got locked up, he was with Mariah the Scientist. But he probably had a couple of side chicks. So it's very easy to assume she was a side chick. Anyway, listen to the conversation between them. I'll jump in and out. Listen to it. It's a 14-minute conversation.
That's it.
I don't know. I just had like, I don't know.
Tell me. But don't do that. Tell me. Please.
I thought we were just like aligned. You know, I thought we were like the same. I just couldn't believe what you. I don't know. Just
We are aligned. We are. I said it came out wrong. I'm sorry. I worded it the wrong way, and I did not mean it that way. I really did. You have to believe me.
Now, you gotta imagine. So this girl's a side chick. And here's the thing, too, that's also true, because we're going to get into her responses. She knew damn well Young Thug had a girl. Like, she knew damn well Young Thug had a girl. She knows she's a side chick. But, of course, in many side chicks' eyes, I'm going to do enough to get to be the main chick if I act right and if maybe the other girl fucks up. So, Young Thug is talking to her. She knows Young Thug got a girl, okay? Now, you know every girl is like, oh, I never knew you got a girl. She's trying to appease him, right? However, you'll see the dynamic between them. Young Thug doesn't seem to give a fuck as much as she gives a fuck.
Like, you're like laughing. It's not funny. It's not funny. I would never say that. Like, I would never say that. Like, that's not the person I am. I would never. Why are you looking at me like that?
Shorty, I'm not a body language expert, but I can tell you, he looking at you like this because he know you a hoe. That's the fact. He knows you a hoe. He know you been lying to mad niggas. He probably know a few of his homies that cracked you. And he's kind of laughing at the fact that you're desperately on the phone trying to act like he's dumb, because that's one of the best attributes of most women. Gaslight, right? You know, like she's acting whatever way of trying to let him know how much she loves him, cares for him, and how much she doesn't care for nobody else. But he gets it around.
Stop. You don't even believe me. It's like you don't believe me. You're raising your eyebrow. You're like...
Now, I hate to keep pausing, but we also got to speak about the obvious. Young Thug is in jail at this point in 2022. He doesn't know that he's probably going to be subsequently locked up for 2 more years. And he's definitely lonely and bored, right? So he's not like, I don't know his personality necessarily. He'd probably be more upfront with her now. But, he's not trying to offend her that much, but you could tell by the looks on his face, he's like, yo, you really think I'm dumb. You know, one of those when the girls just start lying to you and you got that like, yo, you really think I'm dumb, right? That's what Thug is on.
It's not that I don't believe you, it's just I can't believe it. I can't believe it.
Okay, well, it came out wrong. I'm telling you, it came out wrong, and I did not mean it that way. I meant to say, like, I want you to, like, obviously, I want you to be out here with me, like. Do you get it? Do you get what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I get it.
You think if I really felt like that, I would be here?
I think you felt like
it's
that,
hard for
you just feel bad. So
what?
You can't. I think you felt like that, but I just think you felt bad by saying it. So that's why you.
No, I don't feel like that.
You do.
No, I don't. This is something that someone else told me, and I feel like I should have never said that to you. I should have never repeated it. I should have never said that.
You could have repeated it. It don't matter. I looked at that person. I love that person.
Why the fuck would she say that to me?
That person.
Huh?
I mean, I just looked at it. I mean, I'm happy that you told me that though, because I just looked at that person the same way.
Yeah, and I don't even know her like that. I don't even know her. Why are you telling me this? For what? You know what I mean?
I ain't gonna lie, man. Watching this makes you feel sad for women. And what I mean by women, you feel sad for women who are like Lena, right? Like, they live in the land of manipulation and trying to get a guy to take them serious. All while they use their body as an object that everybody gets to share, right? So it's like, everybody gets to fuck you and do whatever with you, but you try to either manipulate, gaslight, act like you care about one guy more than the other, you know, play these like, you know, I've always said the best whores are really they're mental experts. They know how to really, it's not about them fucking, it's about how they could try to make you feel not okay with them fucking, but make you feel like they didn't fuck or they care about you so much. And you're watching this woman here, and I feel bad for her because it's like, what is she getting out of this? The guy's in jail, right?
I don't fuck with her like that. I don't even know her.
Now I gotta give credit to Thug. And again, shout out to Thug. But I do believe that Thug, let me tell you this, chat. When you have another girl you care about, another girl lying, and again, because I see people like say, nah, Thug is what Travis Hunter needed to be. Lies become comforting when you're in love with the person. He ain't in love with her, so her bullshit doesn't land. So he's looking at her like, bitch, please. Now, if that was his girl telling him that, and I'm being honest with y'all, if it was his girl telling him that, you love her, so you want to believe her. So I know a lot of y'all want to say, yo, nah, he keeping it P, this and third. Bro, he don't love this girl. He doesn't give a fuck about her. So her trying to bullshit him, what he's thinking like, yo, you really think I'm like a pawn because I'm locked up. But I know bitches like you. I don't give a fuck about you like that. Right? And obviously, you're going to see her go through a range of emotions to try to alter his emotion. Because when a woman realizes you don't care about her, she utilizes a bunch of tricks. She's going to cry. She's going to start telling you what she's willing to do for you that she ain't never done. She's going to try to make herself emotionally seem special to you. Because she's realizing, look how Thug's looking at her. Thug's looking at her like some regular chick. We have a jail call, another one, with him and Mariah the Scientist. He's in love with Mariah the Scientist. So he looks at her completely different. But look.
And I don't feel like that. I feel like, I don't know, it was just like, I was around my sister and her man or whatever, and that was kind of like making me frustrated. And I'm like, damn, like, I wish you were with me, like.
Typical hoe shit. When confronted, I don't even know what it is that Thug is acting this way to her, but typical hoe shit. When confronted with your hoe shit, you blame it on the environment that you were in rather than accountability. The kryptonite of most women are accountability. He feels some type of way rather than saying, I'm sorry. That was just me. I had an error of judgment. I blah, 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 blah. Oh no, I was trying to play. She's not gonna admit that. You look crazy. You know what she's gonna say? Oh, you know, I was with my friend and you know, she be having mad niggas and she be, you know, she always outside and she be telling me this and then her man is no accountability. And by the way, this is a trick that both men and women utilize, right? Blame it on your friend, right? So she's doing the same, right? But again, yo, one thing I give Thug, this ain't the first rodeo. This ain't the first time around the block. So her trying to blame the environment and saying, oh, it's my friend. And it was because these other people. And I was just frustrated because of that situation. I'm watching my friend or my sister be mad affectionate with her guy. So I am upset that I'm not with you. So I'm lashing out. Doug cease to it. Give Doug some credit.
I don't know. I was by myself. While she was booed up.
Typical whore strategy. I'm gonna be honest with y'all, Chad. I was dating a girl one time. She would tell me, she was like, yeah.
So